Okay. Welcome, everyone. Here we are. So, it's time for another live stream. And we're going to cover Bitcoin, answer loads of questions as well. 1, 2, 3. Poof. There we are. I have to work on having a nicer transition between having music in the introduction and then switching to the webcam and have no music at all. But it just cuts the music, but that's okay. That's okay. So, welcome. Good to see everyone. So, what we're going to do in today's live stream is just providing a short update on Bitcoin, which will only really be a couple of minutes locally at least. I did get a couple of questions on the weekly time frame through a couple of comments that I received over the past week. So we could always have a look at the higher time frame as well. And then we move into Q&A. And you can ask any questions and I'll be here to answer them. Now, mind you that if you ask questions and I answer them on the live stream, they may get picked for shorts as well. So usually the guy that creates the shorts on my YouTube channel, which is Lachlan, he grabs questions from live streams, and then my answer is then part of the short, including your question. He often has the chat box at the beginning of the short, where you can see the person asking the question. So just so you know, but those type of shorts come from the live streams. So who knows, maybe your question will be covered. But that's for later in the live stream. We're going to start with the analysis. So yeah, welcome everyone. Good to have you here, Legendario. First one here, maybe. At least the first one that was writing. Good to have you here, Legendario. Stephen, Tom Martin, welcome. Bao Cypher, there's at least 5 people, probably a few more now. Hamza, what's up? Excuses. Good to have all of you here. 37 watching, 50. Yeah, I don't know. I generally don't really look at the number. The people that are here hopefully find it valuable. So that's most important. Gaia Riddler, welcome. Moral support. May your trades go well. Absolutely. What's up, Yov? I still don't really know what this like logo is with the A. I haven't figured it out yet. I also haven't really checked it, but some people have that like, I don't know if you can see it if you full screen it, that like icon that it's gone if I hover my mouse on top of what you wrote, but I don't know why that is, to be honest. It's a new YouTube thing. Oh, no idea. So veteran, welcome. Anje, Alert Trader, Umar, what's up? Samuel, Podolsky, a pleasure. Wen Moon, U-Sport, good to have you here. Taran, everyone coming in. Kulo, admin. Lumina Capital Trading. Hi, coach, you're a great analyst, brilliant for Elliott Wave. Thanks for your education. It is a pleasure. Merci beaucoup. Thanks for hanging out, watching the content, commenting as well, as I have seen your comments. So I always go through, I always see all the comments. It's quite difficult nowadays to reply to everything. So we have some older comments that might still be open, but I always see all the comments because the moment we get a comment, it appears on my phone as well. So, It's a translated text. Ah, okay. Interesting. Okay, I had no idea. Thanks. I guess it's a translation symbol. Okay, yeah, cool. I had no idea. Thanks. I learned something today. Translation. Okay, I see. Thanks. Are you AI? Well, if I am AI, then the AI currently has to answer a question about, am I AI? Maybe everything here is just AI. It's just AI. I am AI. Who knows? I love watching your videos. You're really great, man. Cheers. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Like in the end, I started a YouTube channel years ago just to share my analysis. Honestly, by the way, thanks everyone for the 24,000 subscribers. We reached 24,000 subscribers yesterday. which is insane. There you go. So, yo, thanks, guys. That's incredible. You can see like lifetime. So, whoops, line, just like it's just continuing. Moments of extra speed, but generally it's quite a straight line through both bull and bearish environments. So yeah, thanks everyone for subscribing. That's amazing. It's well, we haven't had Anjay. We didn't really have a wave 2 yet. Maybe this was the wave 2 over here, which was when I got married and I was gone for a month. So I wasn't in front of the charts. But yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. I started the YouTube channel, I think now 3 years ago, just to share my analysis. I honestly didn't really think much of it. I got some questions in Discord communities to share my analysis. And instead of doing a Discord live stream, I was like, let me just put it on YouTube so you guys can watch it there. And then now we're here. So, a few more people than I expected enjoyed the analysis. So yeah, amazing. That subscriber graph needs a correction. Yeah, I'm afraid so. So far it's just nothing goes up in a straight line. That's what they say, right? That's what they say. Can you please explain the difference between log and normal scales, when to use what? I can. And then we move into the analysis, as most people are probably here for that. So we're going to cover Bitcoin. So the difference between log and normal scales. So currently my chart is on the normal scale. Let me turn everything off for a second. So currently this is a normal scale chart. You can see that the L in the right bottom corner is not turned on, which says logarithmic. So this is the linear scale where the scale is in absolutes. So on the right side, $1,000 is always... So if I zoom out, I think it's better. So in this case, like 1,000 is always, it's the same absolute value across the whole vertical line. The moment I switch to log, it switches to percentages, right? So if you analyze the chart in log, which is usually for higher time frames, but I'll tell in a second why you should log or when to use linear or log. When you use log, right? Now the chart is basically calculated in percentages. So 1% at 20K is the same distance as 1% at 100K, even though the absolute value is different, right? Because 1% at 20K is very different compared to 1% at 100K. But the distance on the log chart is the same. And generally, you use the log chart when analyzing a section of a chart, or you zoom out and go to a daily or weekly time frame and you analyze a section of the chart that has moved over 100% towards the upside or has moved down over 30%. That is the moment where you start to move into log charts. Now, if I am analyzing only, let's say, I go to, say, a daily time frame, and on the daily time frame, let's see how big this move here is. Yeah, so if I'm on the daily time frame and I am analyzing this move towards the upside, I can use linear. It's not 100% move. Linear is perfectly fine here, even though this is the final leg of a move of a couple of 100% from 15K. But I only need the linear chart because I analyze this structure. But if I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to be like, well, I want to analyze this, well, I need the log to be more accurate. Same with the move down. I can analyze this here on linear, but the moment I start to analyze the whole move down, I need to go to log. Or at least you don't need to. It's not a need, but it is recommended because the Elliott Wave analysis will be more accurate. And I think the best way to showcase this is to go to the index chart, go to the weekly time frame, and show you this. So this is what the weekly looks like, the weekly time frame on a linear chart. You cannot really count anything here, right? And then you get this. This shows the absolute values on the right, like this is the linear. The moment I switch to log, you can see that now things start to make a lot more sense. I can analyze this compared to the linear chart where, yeah it's not great. So that is the answer to your question. Multi 1-2 on subs only. How's the baby? Baby is doing very well. Thank you. Growing quick, eh? She's 5 months and 11 days. She's about 6.6 centimeter or 66 centimeters and 7 kilos. And yeah, she starts to turn, like she can now turn around on her belly as well as her back. So she's probably not too far away from starting to crawl. So sometimes the nights can be a little rough, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's easy for me because my wife is the one doing the feeding. So I generally sleep during the night, but still, they're not always easy. But she's very chill. Like I gotta say, the kiddo we have, she sleeps quite well during the nights, and yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's a blessing. So okay, we're gonna start the analysis on Bitcoin, and then we get back to the questions. Okay. So I'll get back here. Make sure to remember your question, and then I'll get back to it. I just want to get the analysis out of the way. Won't take long. Won't take long. Okay. Maybe a band-aid. Thank you. On it again. Admin USA got a membership. Cheers, Jason. Appreciate it, man. Okay, so Elliott Wave analysis starting at how long are we live for now? How long are we live for? About 15 minutes. So, okay. We're going to cover the 15 and the 1 hour. If people have questions about the weekly, I can answer them in a bit. So on the 15-minute time frame, the probabilities are higher that this is a corrective movement towards the upside. Now, the bullish count would be a multi 1-2, where you have 1-2s and just stacking 1-2s, and you look for a large 3 towards the upside. However, the issue is, and why this is a lower probability scenario, the bullish scenario is a lower probability scenario. The reason for this is that the lower degree 2s are longer in time, twice the size, 3 times, 4 times, depending on how you compare. The lower degree 2s are far longer than the higher degree wave 2s. And that's not what you like to see. So it decreases the probabilities that this is multi 1-2s. This would be your latest wave 2, or by now you have to call all of this a wave 2. But that is far longer. Even this is much longer than the higher degree wave 2 down here. And this wave 1 has to be either a diagonal with a very tiny 2, so this one is over 6 times the size, or you need to be a little bit, do this, some triangle here, and wave 1 here. Yes, there is 1-4 overlap. Would be an invalidation, but there is a gray zone where wave 4 can end above the high of 1, while wave A of a triangle can overlap. You can ask Elliott Wave International about that, because that's how they approach it. Then you end wave 1 here, followed by a flat, but then still this 2 is over twice the size. So that's not what you like to see. Lowers the probabilities for the bulls. Increasing the probabilities that this move to the upside is part of a corrective structure. Then the content yesterday, when price was, I don't know, somewhere down here, we were saying, well, the probabilities are highest for price to move up. And the reason for that was because a multi 1-2 to the downside had lower probabilities, which was even more confirmed the moment price here took out this high, as per the video yesterday, increasing the probabilities to see price move up to create a larger range. And we wanted to see price move beyond the 0.382 Fib time, which you take from this high to the low, put it on the chart for a second. So you wanted price to correct till at least after the 382, which has now at least happened because price made another high here after the 382. Now the corrective structure in question, the one that I am keeping an eye on here, is a WXY, so a double zigzag to the upside. There's just a few ways to count it. It's more that the general bias, let me start here. The general bias is higher, this is corrective, which on the 1 hour time frame increases the probabilities to still see another move down. Right? You're still looking for another move towards the downside. And it's unrelated to the exact count, right? The labels. You can see I have multiple labels on my chart, but it's about directional bias. Now, it's not about having the exact scenario. It's about the bias that, well, it is unlikely something is finished here and we have multi-1-2s and we just go up. The probabilities are higher. We are looking for another leg towards the downside. Now, depending on that move towards the downside, we will then be able to distinguish, we will be able to be more precise then and figure out what the exact scenario is, but we'll have to wait for that move. Probabilities are highest, this is corrective. Probabilities are highest, you're still looking for another move to the downside. Probabilities are lowest to just go up in a straight line. Yeah? And then the move to the downside will let us know what we're looking for. Right? But we don't have to know that yet because it's not relevant. Because the bias is we're still looking for a move down. Now you can see the yellow box. The yellow box only has a B, and that is because of a flat. So if price were to move above 78.4, we are going to look for a flat. ABC, that's your highest probability. If price creates a high over here and then goes down, well, there's several options which I will not go. I won't go in detail. It's more about the bias. So the bias is on the 1 hour. We're still looking for a move down once this is finished. Okay. And that is because the 50-minute time frame is higher probability corrective. This is a higher probability corrective move. Therefore, unrelated to the exact corrective structure on the 1 hour time frame, because this is higher probability corrective, you're still looking for a move down. Which means that on the 1 hour time frame, shorts would be more interesting than longs. Sure, price can move up, we can create a larger WXY, but it only improves the opportunity to short at areas of resistance, basically. Now, with regards to the 50-minute time frame, as mentioned, I'm looking for WXYs. It's just that there's a few options with WXYs. They tend to be complex structures for a reason. So the first one is that you have a W finished here, followed by X, and then ABC, and that's your wave Y. Now, this is not a nice impulse to the upside. It's actually quite tricky to count this as a nice wave C and therefore end wave Y. So preferably, this is not the end of a WXY, and we're looking at a larger W followed by a larger X, and then another wave Y, which then is ABC. Right? We need a three-wave structure. So a double zigzag. Currently, that would be the preferred pick. If we don't end something here, I would like to see a larger WXY. The alternative option is W, X, and Y with a deeper X that moves to at least a golden pocket from here to here. And the golden pocket sits at 74. Or 75, wait. Yeah, just below 75. So if price can move to around 74.9 or at least move below 75, we will have to start to consider a sideways WXY or maybe something finished there. Right? 1 hour probabilities, the 1 hour bias remains looking for a move down, but ideally, I don't really like this as a motive wave. It's in Discord, in the lounge, we've been talking about this move up and can we count this motive or not? And it's just not a high probability motive structure. So preferably something is not yet finished here, and we're still looking at a larger move, right? WX, maybe even A, B, C, but then B is quite long, right? Even compared to your X. So therefore, the move towards the upside, I would like to see WXY, alternatively WXY for a more ranging structure. In both cases, you would look for another leg up to get your wave Ys. It just depends on the X, basically. And then on depending on where wave Y finishes, we go to the 1 hour time frame and we'll either look for a flat or we're going to look for something to finish here and then down we go in the blue zone. But it's about the bias, right? It's about the bias. No need to be precise. And I actually think someone just now in Discord summarized it pretty well. So in the morning routine earlier today, whoops, I was talking about the progression of an Elliott Wave analyst. Basically, like where do you start, of course, with the theory and then up the ranks. And Wong here said, I was watching the video, the morning routine of the 19th about bias. And I like the distinction he made about bias versus priority and the fact that many new traders, instead of trading bias, trade priority, which by definition is unknown unless confirmation is made. And that's indeed a very good summary of how I approach making content as well. So I can highlight a specific Elliott Wave scenario and be incredibly like, this needs to happen. Or I can create the bias of the probabilities are highest for price like yesterday. Probabilities are highest for price to move up. Now, will this move up be corrective or motive? We do not know. We will not prioritize a motive wave to the upside or a corrective wave to the upside. We prioritize the fact that with the info we have now, we're looking for a move up. What this move up then becomes impacts what we do next. But it doesn't make sense to say it must be corrective, it must be motive, or it is going to be motive. No, you don't know. We know with confidence, that's our edge, that we're looking for a move up, as per the video yesterday. Yeah. But what the move becomes, we don't know. But now that we have more information, we can analyze this and be, well, this move to the upside is a higher probability corrective move. But if this is corrective to the upside, it therefore means that we need another leg down. And therefore, with this live stream, we can now say that unrelated to the exact counts, is this a 1, 2, 3? Is this an ABC? Is this part of a triangle A, B, C, D, E? Right? It doesn't really matter, because in all of those cases, you're looking for a move down. And then you have to manage things accordingly based on the move down. Is this going to be motive? Are we moving into a wave 3? Is this going to be a triangle A, B, C, D, and then wave E, 3-wave structure turnaround? Right? It doesn't really matter because you're on the right side. And that's the goal. Look for areas of, and I can imagine what's tricky is people tend to look for signals online and absolutes, even though there are none in trading. So even though I give a bias, people need to have their own plan, and you can execute in the direction of the directional bias. Bias by itself doesn't necessarily give an entry, right? Which is why I personally always keep an eye on my levels, because the levels are my areas of interest. So on the 1 hour, due to this being corrective, higher probabilities at least, we're looking for another leg down at some stage. It's quite tricky to end something at this high, so preferably this is not yet finished, and it becomes a larger corrective structure till we can become more confident that something is finished. But after that, you're still looking for a move towards the downside as the highest probability. And if you do take out the high, then I'm looking for a flat ABC. Still a move down. So that is the bias. I'm not looking for this. That's the lowest probability case. It's just a bunch of 1-2s at the moment, and we're off the races. It's currently the lowest probability take. Okay. So that is what is going on locally at the moment. And that's basically the analysis on Bitcoin. I was considering making a video about this morning, but then I was like, well, let me go live so that I can ask a couple of questions, show more things if necessary, and also my editor can then go into this live stream and create some more shorts. So yeah, that's basically it. So let me just quickly, yeah, well, I can check the other time frames as well. Let me just say that the analysis start at about 15 minutes, no? For new people that are joining, you know what I actually think is quite annoying? I would love the pin message to be on the top, not the bottom. It used to be at the top, which made a lot more sense for me than having it at the bottom. But YouTube changed that. So, okay. So, answer some questions. I saw the 4-hour time frame. I saw the daily just now. So we'll go to higher time frames as well. 1 second. If you have enough time, would you be able to... Okay, so this is another asset. We'll get to that later. Could Elliott Wave analyze every mountain profile on Earth? I can at least do an attempt. Most interesting thing is when a diagonal is valid on the linear and on the log it is not. Yeah, so Johan, if a structure is valid on one but invalid on the other, I would generally avoid putting it as a primary and it would become a secondary. It's the same with the 618 sometimes. So sometimes you have an impulse and wave 4 on, let's say, a linear chart touches the 0.618 Fibonacci, but on the logarithmic it doesn't because the 618 is lower. Well, because it touched over here, it's not my primary till proven otherwise. Of course, preferably both the 618s are touched to invalidate it. But if one of the two is touched, then it becomes an alternative. No. Child born on the 10th or the 11th? On the 10th. 10th of November last year. That's when I became a first-time dad. And yeah, mama doing well. Kitty doing well. And dad also doing well. Even though sometimes in the morning routines, I have a little bit of like an internal yawn. You know, I gotta wake up. Can you please start with the daily? Yeah, so we're gonna go to the daily. Cheers, Legendario. Everyone talks so much about the further decline that you already want to see growth after the upcoming correction. Yeah, I to be honest, I don't really know what happens in the crypto landscape, because I make my videos, I do my analysis, but I don't watch anyone else. I don't do Twitter, crypto Twitter. My Twitter profile has nothing really going on. So I never check crypto Twitter. I don't check really other analysts and stuff. I just generally focus on my own thing. So I don't really know what other people are looking for, but I don't know if so further decline. Everyone talks about a further decline. So now we go to the daily as well. We'll analyze the daily. We could even do the weekly, but a further decline, meaning below 60K, I guess. Yeah, so what, like just pure psychology, right? Pure psychology. So we had the all-time high here. Price moved down. Everyone gets very bearish. Yeah. And then, of course, when everyone is very bearish, price turns around. What would be nice, we will analyze the chart in a second, but what would be quite neat is if price can move towards the upside and go higher, make people very bullish again, and then drag it down. You know what I mean? So that you grab that liquidity, bring it down, grab liquidity, and then go back up. And then, you know, we'll see how far things go. That would be interesting, just purely liquidity, no? Also makes me think, actually, that on the weekly time frame, my support box is holding so far. So the first aware zone here was important resistance, and the first aware zone here is important support. I already had this zone on my chart before the last leg down. I don't know exactly where price was. I think it started to go down here, and that is when I started to look for my zones. So this is quite neat. And on the monthly time frame, this is a video I think 2 months ago. I made this video in February where I said, well, we have multiple red candles in a row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The probabilities increase. The next candle is green because it only happened 2 times before in the crypto land or Bitcoin, in the Bitcoin history, that you had 5 red candles in a row. And for the one saying, yeah, but this doesn't mean the next candle is green, because if I play poker and I'm doing like the round thing with black and red, it's always 50% chance, and so is the candle. Well, that's actually not correct in trading and in crypto. I made a comment, or someone commented about this example of the poker thing, and I replied to explain why that is. Because of course in the market there's, you know, it's not 50-50. Yeah, sure, a candle individually may be 50-50, but it is related to the price action that happened before. But yeah, the next candle was green anyway. So that played out as well. Probability highest the next month was green, and then April so far so good green as well. So not too shabby. Does Elliott Wave Theory talk about Fibonacci levels? Yes. I would say that Elliott Wave Theory and... So let's do it like this. So does Elliott Wave Theory talk about Fib levels too? Yes. Elliott Wave Theory goes hand in hand with Fibonacci. In the book Elliott Wave Principle, which was for the first time published, what is it now, like 1978 or something, like pretty much like 50 years ago. First published November 1978, yeah. In this book, they talk about Fibonacci as well. And in my upcoming book, Compendium, we also cover Fibonacci. So the answer is, does Elliott Wave Theory talk of Fibonacci levels? Yes. Based on Fibonacci retracement, Fibonacci extension, Fibonacci time, you can increase or decrease the probabilities of an Elliott Wave scenario. So it gives you guidelines, right? And it increases or decreases probabilities between different Elliott Wave scenarios. You can use Elliott waves just purely using market structure, but if you use Fibonacci, it gives more guidance. It goes hand in hand. Well, so let's just quickly go to the weekly and then the daily as well. So on the weekly time frame, got a question on the weekly. So on the weekly time frame, we were looking for a retrace, not that one. 1 second, this one here. So on the weekly, we were looking for a retracement very similar to the previous bull markets. Right? If you've been here for a while, you've seen this. The moment price here started to move up, so there was a potential for a 5, but basically multiple highs, decreasing volume, trend and turn in a nutshell, which is part of my own theory, Kuhn's theory. So you have volume increasing and creating a gap between the two ranges. Here's your volume increasing. Then price creates a few more highs, decreasing volume, overlap as well, returning. It's just, highest probability is going down. Not a multi 1-2 this late in the cycle. So we get that move towards the downside. And then we get to the scenarios. I guess I don't really know what my weekly scenarios are anymore. So let me just drag them up because honestly, I haven't looked at these for so long that I need to check it myself. So what's this? Pop. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so okay, this is still a bullish outcome, I suppose, looking for a larger wave of 4. So 1, 2, extended 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, no overlap between 1 and 4. Finish 5 at the high, get a corrective move down in 4, and another leg up in 5. It's just a scenario that I have. I can't give it the highest probabilities yet without locally getting some more bullish probabilities, but it's just something I have in my folders here. This is the one you see many talk about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I suppose, where we have A, B, and then a wave C flat. All right, so 3 wave, corrective, and then a wave C. Target area for a wave B is respected. Target area for a wave C being this low, also respected. With this scenario, we had 2 main points of interest, which was the range point of control at 63, and I believe I also had another range point of control at about 68 previously, which was touched initially here with the drop, and then price continued down to towards the range point of control for a second touch. So this is your bullish ABC. This is actually your most bullish scenario because you would have a finished 5-wave structure followed by a flat, and you would look for a new impulse to start. Possibly then another one. I don't really believe in this just yet. I don't know. We don't really have proof that this is the highest probabilities. This flat, if we think about cycles, the flat can also, you can also create W, X, Y, larger sideways structure before going up, instead of just up. So yeah. Okay, what do I have in my other folder here? I just want to check what options I have. Okay, this is basically the bear market example. So on the weekly time frame, right? On the weekly time frame, yeah. Let me quickly. So it's 3823. One second here. Oh yeah. So this is something I. One second here. One second. I'm gonna do a little bit of 1 second. 1 second. 1, 2, no. 5, and then range. The question is what this then, I can keep building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would be a big problem for the crypto market, to be honest. But if we would count it like this, Sure, I know that this chart does not have the history before. Okay, I understand. But still, if you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, touch the 0.5, 5, get a 4 and a 5, you know, you still look for an impulse up, but this would then you're going to correct the whole move from 1K all the way to 100, well, maybe even 200K. Let's just say that if price creates an impulse towards the upside at some point, the next bear market has the potential to be the biggest one that crypto has seen, because you start to go, if you look at the higher time frames, there's definitely the potential to start finishing stuff from the initiation of Bitcoin. So that would be quite something. I'm not a bear talker, nor am I a bull guy. I don't really care because I go in and out the market. So on a weekly time frame, it's difficult to have a real preference as this move up basically decides. You need a motive wave to the upside. At the moment, it's quite tricky to count this high probability motive. I have to go to the 4 hour. There are bullish scenarios, but we don't really have the proof of those scenarios just yet. That's what's in play. And if price creates a 5 up, we can keep stacking 1, 2s on the monthly, of course, and just have 1, 2s all the time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and eventually get a large 3. That is the Moon Boy scenario. And we also have to consider 5s. We'll see. Daily time frame. The thing is, I don't really find the weekly time frame very useful at the moment. It was useful here, right? It was also useful down here, but it was useful here to look for a drop. This move to the downside can be a C, A, or a 1. Preferably, something is finished at this low. So C, A, or 1. But this is daily time frame stuff. So on the daily, this is preferably a 5 waver by now. Preferably, it's finished. Well, if this is a 5 waver, it's a CA or 1. Well, we only know if it's a CA or 1 by looking at the move towards the upside. So let's go to the daily. So on the daily time frame, which is arguably more interesting than the weekly, I'm just going to move some stuff around. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. Gotta move things up. So on the daily time frame, price moving to the downside, creating a low at 60K. This is more interesting than the weekly time frame, to be honest. Surprise, price touch 60K, started this range. Now with this first move towards the upside, price did not reach the 0.382 Fibonacci. I'm referring to past content, but it did not reach the 0.382 Fibonacci. It was close, but it's not touched. This is log, this is linear, right? Quite a difference. Now, because price did not touch the 0.382 with the first leg up, and it was high probability something finished here because of this move towards the upside, we're always looking for another leg up to take out that high. So from a, I suppose, more like investing or swing trading point of view, the main area of interest was here because you're looking for at least a 0.382, which generally is a minimum target once things start finishing, once you get like a finished structure. So price moves back up, touches the 382, comes back down, probably stops you at break even if by then you have the stop loss break even. Then in the content uploaded here, the probabilities increase for an ABC down instead of this being a multi-1-2 for continuation down. So that's a second opportunity to look for potential swings or investments, basically. No? And now here we are. So one can keep the weekly counts in mind with the potential of maybe bullish outcomes, but the opportunities are more local, less weekly. It's more like, oh, on the daily I see this, so therefore I interact, or on the 4 hour or even the 1 hour, you may be able to hold on. Now, previously we had two scenarios, either a finished impulse at the low or possibly a WXY. And this is why I started talking about the 0.382, because if you're looking at a wave B, your minimum target is the 0.382. You want to see this one touched as a retracement for B, which was touched over here on the 17th of March. Preferably that was the end of B and you go down for C, which is why we were tracking the potential of a multi-1-2 down. But this decreased in probabilities come around like the 5th of April. So like around start of April, the probabilities decrease for a multi-1-2. You can go back to that content. Decreasing also the probabilities for a WXY to the downside, WXABCY. Because your wave Y now starts to be very long compared to your wave W. Wave Y, like this wave B, first of all, would now be finished somewhere here. Your wave Y, which consists of this three-wave structure, is already over twice the size of W in time, and you don't even have a wave C yet. So you still need a C as well. So it's quite a long wave Y. So the size of B is decreasing the probabilities of a WXY. Now we can go into WXYXZ, WXYX, and then a wave Z. So we have 3, 3, this has to be a 3, you get a 3 and another 3 down. But a WXYXZ is a very rare corrective structure. It's very, very unusual to see a WXYXZ. Incredibly rare to see this on the chart. So this is not going to be a primary scenario. Only if price moves down in a three-wave structure and then goes back up, we will have this on the chart. But it's not the primary. Primary is not a WXYXZ. The primary would be, or the probabilities are moving towards having a finished impulse at the low. Now, if something finished at the low, then your minimum retracement target is 79.7K, which is not yet touched. So preferably, we still see more upside and reach 79.7, which is a minimum target. If this is a wave C, you expect it to go much higher. So something to be aware of. We haven't yet reached 79.7K. Would be quite neat to do so. So because of the time that it takes to go down for a Y, and mainly the time of this B, the probabilities decrease for a double zigzag down. The probabilities are always low for a triple zigzag till proven otherwise by getting that three-wave move down. So it increases probabilities of an impulse down, which is finished at the low, but then your minimum retracement target would be 79.7K. And from a time perspective, you are going to be looking for 0.3. Okay, we're already beyond the 0.382, so that doesn't really matter. What matters is you haven't yet reached 79.7K, so preferably that happens, right? And then we'll have to figure out if that move is corrective or motive in probabilities, because if this is a motive wave down but a corrective move up, you're going to be in this potential bear market for a longer period of time. Because you have a 5-wave down. If you get a corrective move up, which is proven, let's just say bulls do not want price to go below 65. If you go below 65, geez, it's going to be a problem. That truly is going to be an issue, because this can be a wave A, B. You look for much lower prices in a wave C. The most bearish count would be 1, 2, and you go down in a 3, down to 10K or whatever. The bullish count is this is a C, and if you correct towards the upside, you're just going to go sideways. So you're going to be stuck in this range. That's for the bulls. If you get a corrective move up here, proven, which is not yet the case. If this is a proven corrective move up, the bulls are looking for a larger range. The bears are just looking for price to tank. In both cases, the bulls have no business. There's absolutely no business to be had for bulls if this is corrective up. Like if this even becomes sideways, W flat, X, and then a wave Y zigzag, that's where the bulls can come back. You gotta be very patient. Because price this is the bullish scenario, bearish case again is going down. So it doesn't make sense to invest on these higher time frames. Locally, there's enough opportunities here in the range, and I just explained what one could have done on a daily time frame. Investing over here and investing over here were the two main spots. This one probably break even after a TP1 at the 382. Second opportunity is here, which by now is probably at least decently managed, and you don't want price for bulls to go down here, so that's the stop loss, no? Yeah. Now on the 4-hour time frame, which I had a question about as well, the bullish case would be that this is another one. Invalidation is the low at 65. And preferably this is an impulse, not a multi-1-2. So ideally we're counting a 5-wave structure, maybe another high, maybe not, according to previous video. I can see another high. But then you're looking for a move towards the downside. The bulls look for a 3-wave move down here, which will provide another opportunity to potentially look for a move up. But if you break this low, that's a big issue for bulls. You're really going to favor bearish outcomes, continuation of the bear market, and as a minimum, just a much larger sideways range between about 60K and 120K. You're just going to go sideways for a long period of time. The bearish count here would be, where is it? 4-hour time frame. So do I have? Oh yeah, here. So the diagonal, preferably finished. That's your 2 or B. I haven't checked this in a while as well, so I just got to update this. So this would be your bullish 1 or A, but A would be bearish. This is your 2, and then get another 1, 2, and then go into 3. All right, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's the bullish scenario. Very much an option, no? We can remove this because this was the target area which is touched. And then you're looking for this invalidation goes up. We're going to add another 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what the bulls look for. And then tuck. But it's not the highest probability, still proven otherwise. Reason being that a leading diagonal is not a high probability structure. They're not very reliable. So this is what hurts bullish probabilities. Probabilities, when you see a diagonal, probabilities are higher. It is a corrective structure or a multi-1-2. Well, for a multi-1-2, we wanted to see this. And if this is corrective, well, that's fine, because we can just count WXYs. I don't know why you don't see that we are at a wave 4. This is not a high probability wave 4, unless you have to count this as a single wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But then what is your subwave count of 1? Because you need a 5-wave structure to the downside here, and this is not a high probability 5-wave structure. Or you need overlap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, overlap between 1 and 4. This looks better like a 3-wave structure, or you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? The other option is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Probabilities are low for this scenario because your lower degree wave 2 is over twice the size compared to the higher degree wave 2. And there's also no overlap between the two 1-2s. So that is the reason why the probabilities are low for this to be the end of a wave 3, and this is a 4. Which is why the probabilities are higher something finished here, if we look for an impulse down at least, right? So it's mixing low time frame stuff with like low time frame counts on the 1 hour and the 15 with the higher time frame structure here. This is why this is not counted as a wave 4 on my chart. So yeah, so this is basically it. It's on the weekly time frame, a few things going on, but the weekly, in my opinion, is not very relevant. If people look for swing trades or investments, I think the daily and the 4 hour at the moment are a lot more interesting compared to looking at a weekly chart. On the 4 hour / daily time frame, we have to observe this range. This is currently this is the most important part of the chart, and honestly, I like this here. And on a daily time frame or 4 hour time frame, your bullish count includes a leading diagonal as a wave 1, and leading diagonal is a low probability structure. It's not it's not great for the bulls. After a leading diagonal, you need a corrective move down to at least increase its probabilities, which is what we got. And we identified the probabilities low for a multi-1-2 here. So we were looking for price to go up, which at least gives the leading diagonal some probabilities. But now we have this structure, and now you're looking for another 1 and another 2. That is what ideally bulls look for continuation. The bears can use a leading diagonal as a wave A. This is B. And imagine this is wave C. And there you go down. Right? Now, the directional bias between the two is the same, which is why in recent content I mainly focus on this. So the reason why I don't really... So the price action before 65K is honestly not very relevant. Anything that happened before 65K is not interesting, really. Because it's about this move up. And the initial question was, is this potentially a multi-1-2 or is it just an impulse? Or we could have a WXY in the beginning, but then price kept going. Probabilities are low. This is a multi-1-2 and it just flies. Probabilities are higher that this is an impulse towards the upside, right? Which therefore means you're going to be looking for a move down. We can end wave 5 here. We can get another wave 5. That's fine. Create another high on decreasing volume and then go down. But it increases the probabilities. You're starting to look for a move down. And I keep an eye on the local time frames here to see if the probabilities are there to take out this high, yes or no. So that is why I covered this, the 1 hour and 15 minute, at the beginning of the stream. Because this here decides if we take out this high. So we can still count A, B, C, D, E, maybe a running triangle in a wave 4, go up for 5, final wave 5, then go down. Now this 5-wave structure to the upside, which is a higher probability 5-wave structure, the question is, what is it? Is an impulse to the upside here, is this a wave 1? Is this a wave C? Right? Heck, maybe it's even a wave A or something, right? But initially you're going to consider 1 or C. Is it a wave 1 or is it a wave C? You do not know till we get the move down. Because if this is a 1, you need a corrective move down. And that move down has to retrace, I must have it somewhere, to at least the 0.382 Fibonacci, which is this one. So if this impulse is a finished structure, for example here, you need to go to at least 72.9. Wait, this is on log, 73.2. If you create another 5 a bit higher, the 302 goes a little bit higher, then time will move to the right. Right? But you need a corrective move towards the downside. That's a requirement. It's a must. While if the move towards the upside, right, either finished or unfinished, if this is a wave C, you can get a motive wave down. If you break the structure, big problem for bulls. But we'll have to wait for the information to show us what it is going to be. It doesn't really, at this point in time, it doesn't matter hypothesizing about the move down. Must be corrective, must be motive. Oh, we'll wait and see, right? We'll wait and see. But we are expecting, we're expecting a turn. No. And then depending on the move down, we'll figure out what's up. Is it a 1 or is it a C? And if you get a corrective move to the downside, the bulls are going to count this as another 1, 2, look for 3. And the bears, this is going to be simply lovely, the bears are going to be looking for a larger sideways structure. So you're just going to go sideways just like you did over here for a very long period of time. Well, before you then go down and continue the trend. Yeah. Very interesting. Huh? Yo, Odin, what's up? Mark, how you doing? How you doing? Quick check here. Quick check. Are you a millionaire? Well, generally, I don't really talk about my personal like net worth or what I have in my accounts and that sort of stuff. Because in the end, it's not relevant to you, is it? But let's just say that I am happy with where I am in life. And now you can focus on you and your trading plan, which is a lot more useful. When is the book coming out? So I hope Q2. The Elliott Wave Compendium is currently at the designer. This is round number 2. So I received the design of the book. I gave feedback. She's working on it at the moment. Probably, I expect to get it returned to me this week. And then I have to look over it again for a second revision, see if everything has been corrected and if everything is okay. And if so, then the design is finished and she can work on the cover. And if not, we'll have to do another revision. I hope to get it done by the end of Q2. That would be nice, but we're working hard on it. It takes so much more time than I thought to like the final stage of publishing a book, right? You first work a long time to create the book, and then the publishing takes so much longer. And it's not just publishing; it's the like getting editors, getting designers, and you have to I have to read the book multiple times to try and check everything that people edit, and so it takes a little bit of time, but yeah, it's worth it. Quality over quantity, and or over speed in this case. And yeah, we also have a quote from Prechter, which is really cool. So for the ones, probably most of the viewers will know him. Elliott Wave Principle, Frost and Prechter. So I met Prechter in the US last year, and we went for dinner. Actually, he took my wife and I for dinner, which was really cool. So we went for dinner, and I told him about the book that we're working on. Earlier this year, I sent him a copy, or at least a PDF, and he is very excited about the book. And he gave me an amazing quote, like a cover quote, so I can put it on the cover and in the book, and I'm allowed to use it everywhere. So we got that. No one has the quote yet. It's not out yet, what all he said, but let's just say it's like 4 lines or something. It's incredible. It's really cool. Are you Dutch? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Mike Zeiden. We kunnen ook gewoon Nederlands praten. Elliott Wave analyse doen in het Nederlands. Alleen ik ben bang dat dan misschien 170 kijkers van de 195 geen idee hebben waar we het over hebben. Yeah, Dutch. It's my main finish cycle wave 1, and now we are in long wave 2 to finish after 2030. Okay, so you're looking for probably then a deeper retracement, no? Because you're looking for a multi-year correction. You're not looking at 60K being the low in this particular case, unless you get a sideways corrective structure. But I haven't checked how deep it needs to go on a monthly. I think you have to count Bitcoin fully corrective because it moves like a commodity on the higher time frames. Yeah, it's like, depending on who you ask, it's moving like a commodity or like a stock. It's a very interesting discussion, I suppose. But yeah, so far it's, I generally isolate waves. I suppose I'm a very practical analyst, where we understand that this is not all the information Bitcoin has, because it has years of info. But basically the probabilities of the 4-hour, the daily, the weekly, and the monthly time frame all depend on the next retracement, as the probabilities are highest is 5 up, finished, unfinished, doesn't matter, maybe 1 more high. But then if you go down, this retracement is very important. And the probabilities on all those time frames will be impacted by this move down, corrective or motive. So the lower time frames will always change the probabilities on the higher time frames. It starts on the lower time frames, and then slowly but surely probabilities change on the higher time frame. Like you first get low time frame confirmations, and then slowly but surely you get higher time frame confirmations. But it's interesting to keep an eye on the local stuff. You're still in time, V. Can you have A from 126 to 60, then B to yes. C from 78 to yes, that's possible. Absolutely, Lumina. 100%. That would be a simple zigzag to the downside, which on the weekly I have it like this. So this was where you had the ETF launch. It's a nice little order block as well. So that's where I put my C. I put this on a chart a long time ago. I put my wave A here. This has not been changed or moved. This was drawn way in advance. The reason I put my wave A here is because of my first aware zone. Plus we had 2 range point of controls here as well. Now that B, I don't know about the high of B. Maybe I should have put B more in this area here, to be honest. instead of just above, because this is important resistance, structural resistance. This range, that could be the high of your B, and then you get C down in the scenario that you talk about. That would be a very, very important area on the chart. With a correction now after the next high, yes. Another thing, so on the weekly time frame, what I would like to see, this is like to see, right? It's more of an opinion. Is where is? Oh yeah, is it this one? Yeah. I would love to see, I don't know, something like this. So currently the low was made on high volume low, which is actually quite common when you talk about corrective structures that end, for example. But this low is made on a high amount of volume, and I would love to see a couple lows on decreasing volume, but yeah. If we look at RSI, this is another thing, RSI. So you can see that the low on the RSI created a low below 30. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it. So the low on the RSI was below 30, with the low on Bitcoin at 60K. On the weekly, we don't have a divergence. We don't have a weekly divergence. While here, if you look at the uptrend, for example, you can see higher highs. While on the RSI, you can see clearly that there was a divergence as price then moved up. Even here in the previous bear market, you can see lower low, higher low. So yeah, it's something to be aware of also here, right? You can just keep looking at higher high, lower high, right? So a little bit of a RSI. I don't often use the RSI, but I am aware that this low does not have a divergence. So price here created a lower low, lower low. So yeah, well, it would be quite neat to go down again and at least create a divergence at some point. But we'll keep an eye on the lower time frames. Keep an eye on what's happening step by step. I answered this one. Even if you don't take the 382 at 79, can you have A for yes? Yeah, absolutely. Because like your 0.382 is it's commonly a minimum target, but it's not a must. It's not like a rule that a wave has to retrace an impulse by 38%. But it is most common to see that happen, unless, for example, the common target for a running triangle in a zigzag is the 0.1 to the 0.4 Fibonacci. So that's the main outlier, where you have an impulse up, and then you get a running triangle. So you get like A, B, C, D, E, and then you go up again. This must be a wave B because a triangle cannot exist in wave 2. And then you go up for C. And the common target for a running triangle is the 0.1 to the 0.4 Fibonacci. So not great chances you're going to reach the 382. But generally, the 382 is reached with all other options. It's most common to see it touched. Hi, bro. Behaves. Miss the old streams. Please do more. Yeah, I'm working a lot on the book. We're also working a lot on Hexaplan at the moment, which is a platform where we help people create plans, like trading plans based on data. Right, so the platform helps you and guides you through that process to create a profitable trading plan. Plus, there's journaling and lots more that is possible. So we're working hard on this as well. Probably, well, next month, the company should be alive on paper, and then launch should come relatively soon after. But yeah, compendium. We're working on the compendium, working on Hexaplan, and yeah, there's a lot happening. Was there any scenario where we can have bigger ABC correction up to... Yeah, that would be wave B. Oh, from 60K, you mean Kusk Martin? To 94.96. 94.96. Okay, that's relatively high compared to where we are at the moment. Well, if we talk about ABC, which is the letters you mentioned ABC, then preferably you have A, B takes the low, and then you get C up. This would be a flat. and then you may reach 98. So with the letters ABC, right? You can only have a zigzag or a flat with the letters ABC. So this would then be an option. But you need to take the low highest probability first, or at least retrace 90% of this move down. A zigzag, low probability. Like if this is a diagonal in an A, and this is your B, well, I wouldn't look for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a wave C, because your wave C is so out of proportion compared to your wave A. It would be a very long, large structure. Preferably it's just A, B, C, and then that's it. But going from here all the way to 94, 96 is a bit of a jump for a wave 5, while we're already looking for wave 4s here. So if you think about a ABC, then a flat can get you there. The other option is that you're looking at W, X, and then you go up in a Y, double zigzag. So ABC and W, get a shallow X, and then ABC. Now guess what? This will confuse people with a multi-1, 2, because your bullish case is 1, 2, 1, 2, and eventually you're looking for a wave 3, and then a wave 4, 5, and then a 4 and a 5. But a WXY can look like an impulse. I actually made a video about this. It's on my channel in the educational playlist, where this can also be a W, ABC, W. This is a shallow X, and you get another ABC to finish a wave Y, right? And then you don't get the final 4 and 5. So your wave A could be quite long, which creates a gap here between the ranges, which acts like a 3, but it's actually an A. But you only figure out the difference at a later stage, right? So, but yeah, that can get you to your 95 like area as a double zigzag, W, X, and then a wave Y. Preferably price then doesn't go below your 65K. Taking out the low on the 4-hour would be the validation for the on the 4. No, so the bullish scenario, price taking out this low is a problem, 65K. So if price moves down and takes out 65K, then it's very likely the bulls are going to be sidelined for a long period of time. It's not going to be very interesting, because a WXY is very low probabilities. WXY at the moment, not great probabilities due to time. Finished impulse is an option. And if price would not reach 79.7 and instead it goes down now, we have to be aware of a flat. So the bulls may have a little bit of a relief rally, but after a flat you go down again. It's just that if you move below 65, there's the potential for ABC, 1, 2, 3, and the bulls would look for a WXY, like a larger sideways range. So bulls would need to be very patient. Yo, Metchi, how you doing? Yeah, been a while. Catch a Koen stream. No, not too late, not too late. It's called TACO, Unstoppable Manipulation Wave. I've never heard of this. TACO. Chichan. Welcome, welcome. Jason, maybe a band-aid. Whoops. I'm almost at the bottom. What else beside Elliott Wave Theory do you use for setups? Everything you see in my videos. So that's why I always cover the levels as well. So what I don't use any indicators. I use levels and structure. Like Elliott Waves is my structure, and then I use my levels for areas of support and resistance. Maybe sometimes I have a look at CVD, a lot less than back in the day. But yeah, everything you see in my videos, I have like with Elliott Waves, we create a directional bias. Then the goal is to look for setups in the direction of the directional bias with a personal plan. And I like to use my areas of support and resistance and then observe what price does at those areas, or see how price is approaching those areas, and if I see weakness or if it is strength, right? And then that I decide if there's interest or not. Yeah. I understand Dutch. Are you from the Netherlands? Yes, I am. Are you related to Max Verstappen? You missed one P. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, we had one thing in common, I suppose, and that is I was a professional before the YouTube thing. I was a professional in a video game, in a racing game called Trackmania, which is not sim racing, okay, but it's at least racing. So I can. That's the only similarity I probably have with the guy. So you and Prechter are friends. Yeah, I mean business friends, I suppose. You know, like I mean business friends. No, like I think like friends. It's not like we talk on a daily basis, but we have each other's number and we do chat occasionally and send messages or are in touch by email. So we have a nice relationship, right? A very like nice relationship. Yeah, like a friend. Like yeah, I don't know. Like when I think about my friends, I talk to them on a daily basis, pretty much. You know? But I would see Prechter as like a like a friend. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, like so at least in that vicinity, like in that area. You know, like if not like business, private. The dinner actually was very private. It wasn't a business dinner at all. Like I went to America, see Prechter, and he took us out for dinner. And it was super relaxed. Like of course, we spoke about some Elliott waves, absolutely, but we also spoke a lot about other stuff and just life in general. So well, it was amazing. He's such an amazing person. A really, really nice guy. What's your take on the low? Is it the overall bear market low in your opinion? Too early to say for me. Like at the moment, I cannot answer the question with a yes nor a no because that's why I keep an eye on the local price action. The 60K low, I do think is a more relevant low, like it can be the low of CA01, right? But the local information will give us like more of an answer. So if this is higher probability, this is 5 up. If you get a 3-wave move down here, then yeah, it opens up the possibility of this being a bigger low, and you're looking for another 5 up, either a 3 or another lower degree 1. So as long as price can create 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down, and eventually you just go higher, and this low just stands. So the probabilities increase for this low to be significant by seeing 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down. And of course, on the channel, we know when the probabilities change in favor for the bulls. Like here, we had this move down, and this is either ABC or we're looking for 1 2 1 2 down. Those were the two options. Now multi 1 2 to the downside decreased in probabilities because of then what happened here at the beginning of April. So then the probabilities increase. This is an ABC, and the probabilities increase for price to move up, which also gives at least some probabilities to the potential of a diagonal in a 1, also an A, by the way. So it at least gives the bulls a little bit of probabilities. Now we can see another impulse up. If we get a 3-wave move down, it again gives it, puts a little bit of probabilities in the basket of the bulls where there is at least a potential for this to hold. So I don't necessarily talk in like absolutes where is this the bear market low? Maybe, maybe not, but the local information will tell me because on the daily, the danger is that we can count this as a 5, and a 5 can be a C, A can be a 1. You only know what it is by looking at the move up. And we don't yet have the full clarity of the move up. Is it motive? Is it corrective? So it's a good question though. Where you live in the Netherlands? Yeah, I live in the south of France. You know, sun, mountains, ocean. Well, sea actually. Hey Koen, some questions if you don't mind. When did you start with Elliott waves? Was it through courses? No, actually not. So when I started with Elliott waves, it was. Let me start this differently, right? So when did you start with Elliott waves? I never did any courses. Right? Was it through courses? I've never done any courses on Elliott waves. So I learned it myself by using online resources, websites, online videos, books, Elliott wave principle as well. Now, with regards to when did you start with Elliott waves, I got in touch with Elliott waves in February 2021. And then I studied Elliott waves relentlessly while also doing lots of other stuff on the charts because I was a beginner at that time. I stopped using Elliott waves for about 2 months at the end of 2021 because I was annoyed by Elliott waves, and you know, I felt like it just didn't work. I didn't get it. It didn't work. And then I came back after 2 months, and then I improved and continued improving. So I started in February 2021, and after about 2 years is when I got confidence in my ability to count the chart. Yeah. But I still got a lot better since then, right? Like if I look at old content, like at the beginning of the channel, I still here and there, I still made mistakes. So you continue to improve. And when I started with Elliott waves, I also shared this website in my Discord actually. So if we go to Discord and we go to Good to Know. So in Discord, this is the main, no, not that one, website with detailed Elliott wave knowledge. So this website is the one that I mainly use when learning Elliott waves. It's not completely correct, right? It's like 90%, but it will get you a good foundation. Let me open this, by the way, so you know what I talk about. What? That was music. Oh wait, I clicked on. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my music went on. Show purposes, reject everything, continue, please, thank you. So this website here is the one that I mainly used. Very detailed, but it's like not fully correct, but most of it will give you a good foundation. Then I also have the book, The Elliott Wave Principle, and then I just have the chart to practice and practice and practice and practice a bit more. So this is how I learned Elliott waves. I also think, like, when I started with Elliott waves wasn't like I didn't look for courses, nor did I want to pay for courses. Funny enough, of course, now I have memberships for people that want to, but I was a guy that didn't want to. So, you know, no one is forced into something. But I learned it by myself. Do I think that having a mentor in Elliott waves would have helped me? I think it would have shortened the learning curve. So it's mainly a time gain, I suppose, and time equals money in the end. But I think that's the biggest gain. And after 2 years, I still made some mistakes. So probably some of those mistakes would have been filtered out by having a mentor. But no, I never had an Elliott wave related mentor. No. Macro wave 3 downside seems like wave 4 is overlapping one way home. We look at daily chart, right? Thanks a lot. The macro wave 3 to the downside seems like wave 4 is overlapping. On the daily chart. Wait. Wave 3 down on the daily chart, overlapping with 1. Now the wave 4. So the wave 4 overlapping with 1 when you look at the daily. I don't know which wave, like we have wave 2, then wave 3, you would have a wave 4 and then a wave 5. There's no overlap. There's also no overlap. I don't know where, I don't see the overlap that you mean. I may need a chart. You may have to post it in Discord for me to get a better idea of what you're looking at. How can I work on my plan? I have a good understanding of waves, thanks to you, but my executions are bad. Nice question. Okay, so I have a video on YouTube in the educational playlist that talks about how you can build a trading plan using data. Now, if you use Elliott waves, it's already like a methodology, so you don't necessarily need to build data on every wave. But so let me say it like this, because I actually got a recent comment about this as well from someone in Discord that said, I count the waves, but executing is really difficult for that person in question. So let's write the steps down, okay? Step 1. Theory. Right? You need to know why am I doing it like this? Just do this. Like this, make it 41. Oops. 1 theory, 2. 3 is execution, right? Execution, which is based on having a bias, and 2 entry requirements. So this is like your Elliott waves in a nutshell, no? You got to have a certain amount of theory, right? A certain knowledge on the theory of Elliott waves. Then you have to implement it on a chart. And this phase will probably be the longest one, because people can implement Elliott waves on the chart, but it can still be wrong. So even though price may follow your scenario and your probabilities play out, the count itself might actually be wrong, even though price followed what you were looking for. So it can create wrong habits. The implementation is very important. But what is important then is execution. And execution can be divided in understanding your bias and then trading in the direction of the bias. So, for example, in this range that we were in here, so if you go back to my content, you'll kind of get an idea of how I approached this. But we had this move towards the downside. I said that if price moves above 74.8K on Wednesday, the probabilities are higher that this is corrective, not motive, increasing the probabilities to take the high. But because of time, we wanted to see a larger corrective structure and not just a straight move up, as per the previous content. Price came down into support, which was order block, and then moved towards the upside. Now, the moment price moves up and takes out this high, the question is, will this be an ABC flat, or are we looking for maybe a wave 5? In both cases, the bias is bullish, because a flat is bullish. A wave 5 is bullish. So the bias, when taking out this high, and you see this at the time, is bullish. But there is no short here unless you can have lower time frames confirm you're looking for the flat by getting 5 down and 3 up on the low time frame. So when you're trading, let's say the 1 hour time frame, longs are interesting because you're either looking for 5 up or you get ABC, but then C is the long, CBA the short. Short on the lower time frame, yeah, if you get 5 down, 3 up. So the bias is up, and you want to trade in the direction of the bias unless you can see some information that would change that particular bias. So yesterday, the bias was look for price to move up. And the probabilities for this increase even more when taking out the high at 75.6K as per the video yesterday. So that is the bias, which means that shorts are not interesting. Even though we had some resistance here, right, range point of controls, it's not a very interesting short because it goes against the bias. You can make a bit of profit, but the bias at this time is look for price to move up. Probabilities are low, this is a multi-1-2. Probabilities higher, something finished here. Probabilities higher, we look for a bounce up. So a long is more interesting than a short. Areas of support are more interesting than areas of resistance at that moment in time. And this is then also what I mean with entry requirements. So step 1 is having the ability to understand the bias of your Elliott wave analysis. So of your, like, you know the theory, you implement it. By implementing, you get a bias, a directional bias. Are the probabilities higher for price to move down, higher to move up? And understanding the bias then gets you to knowing your entry requirements. So what are you looking for to enter in the direction of your bias? Now, you will not catch every wave. You will not trade every wave, right? Like, you don't need to. You need to trade the higher probability ones. But what are your entry requirements? Is your entry requirement maybe 5 up, 3 down? And a confirmed 3-wave structure will get you in. Right? Confirmed 3-wave structure would, for example, be if you get a 5-wave up, and you get a move down, move sideways, and another move down. And this second leg down is touching the 1.618. Let me quickly put this on the chart here. So it touches the 1.618. Then price does this, move above the high again, increasing probabilities. This is a 3, not a multi-1-2, not an impulse, not a diagonal. which now means probabilities are highest to take out this high, which means that if price comes down again, everything down here, if you have support levels, everything is just long opportunity because you are looking for price to go up and take out the high. That can be a way to approach it, right? But you need to have entry requirements. You can use indicators as well, like RSI. If you get a 5-wave move down and you want a long and you see a divergence between 3 and 5, it might, get you a potential entry, look for price to move up. You can use pure Elliott waves. You can count the amount of 1 2s, get to 3, count the amount of 4 5s, look for price to turn around short. So the question is like, what makes you enter? And you want to have a repeatable process. Not like, oh, the one time I'm doing this, the other time I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this. Now, like, preferably it's a repeating process that you can do every day or every week, whatever. If you're a swing trader, day trader, scalper, every minute, a repeatable process. So you start with the theory, implementation is next, probably takes the longest. Then you get to execution, which means your implementation has to be of a good enough level to create a good directional bias on the chart. And then you want to enter in the direction of your directional bias. So you are starting to look, the bias is not an entry. The bias tells you I need to long or I need to short favorably, right? Probabilities are better for a long or probabilities are better for a short based on the bias. And then you're going to look for, okay, if the probabilities are highest for up, the bias yesterday was up, how can I then be part of the move to the upside? And that requires you to understand your entry requirements. Maybe you use other tools like horizontal support resistance levels that you can use. And if price retraces to an area of support, you can enter, right? Possibly. Maybe you're looking at bullish CVDs, and if the CVDs here are bullish, you're looking for price to go up, and then the bullish CVD here, that's your entry. Maybe you use other tools, right? But that's like, you got to be, this is what you got to do. Understand your entry requirement. And preferably, of course, it's something that you can repeat. Well, when a rising channel breaks, what's the target typically? The 0.382 Fibonacci, taken from the start to the end of the price action in that channel. So I mean, a rising channel, it's a little bit of a cheeky question, I suppose, because if you have a rising channel, if the price action is contained inside the channel, you're most likely looking at a corrective structure. And the probabilities after a corrective move is basically take out the beginning of that structure. If the price action is not maintained inside the channel, but instead it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 correction, and you do this, and then price goes down, touches the lower trend line of the channel. Hello. Now the probabilities are highest to see a retracement to at least the 0.382, take it from the low to the high. Maybe it's already touched, maybe not. Depends on how steep the 1, 2 is. But this is a base channel in Elliott waves. This would be your 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the high is your wave 5. And then you're looking for the 0.382. And an impulse is higher probability finished when you touch the base channel. So then you're looking for a larger corrective structure to correct the move up. But if price action is contained inside the boundaries of a channel, right, and it just continues sticking inside that channel and it doesn't go out of the channel, you're likely looking at a corrective structure, which means once finished, you likely take out the low of whatever the structure, like that corrective movement at some stage. I mean, I can't talk in absolutes, but if you have a zigzag A, B, C, which generally channels quite nicely, an ABC can form a larger corrective structure. You can have a W, X, and then I get a Y, which likely is still inside the channel. But you can also have W, X, Y, and then finish here and then go down, right? You can have, you can even have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a diagonal, which is price action maintained inside the channel, pretty much go down and then go up. right? So you don't take out the low. So channeling is very interesting, and generally when price action is contained in the channel, it's likely corrective. Yeah. Mark. How are you doing, Mark? How are you doing? How are the probabilities for the WXY in the daily? Not like preferably something finished at 60K. A WXY double zigzag, lower probabilities because of the size of the B and Y. Explained it earlier in the video, but wave B is quite long by now, and wave Y is already twice the size of W, so it decreases probabilities. It increases probability something finished at 60. Or we have to look for WXY-XZ, but that's very rare. So it would be entry to longer sideways correction. Ooh, I don't really know anymore what that question is about here. I need to get through this a lot quicker. What is your take on Superwave 1? And now we're experiencing Superwave 2. We can't go up in 1-2s forever. I would absolutely agree. I don't really like that 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. But you know, what's your take? It's a viable option. Either wave 5 may be finished, or maybe you get another all-time high, and then you finish your wave 5 before you then start a large retracement, or at least a very large multi-year sideways price action. Yeah, it's absolutely possible. You know, on the S&P, I think I showed it in the previous live stream, but on the S&P, you also have ranges of 10 years. Why? I mean, Bitcoin in theory can also create ranges of 10 years. No, why can't it? But yeah, I don't really have necessarily an opinion like, oh, this is what the phase that we're in, because it's so high time frame. It's kind of, the local price action will let us know if we are in a super wave 2. Is it possible? Yes. Does it have the highest probability? I mean, it's a little bit tricky because we don't really have proof yet that this is the case. Yeah, not just Brechter Kunis. Cheers, Mark. We should have a drink again in maybe again in Gouda or anywhere else. You know, we had a drink together in Gouda. Kunis, even if you don't take the 3.8 as a, oh yeah, so I answered this one. Do you only use volume or also funding? Wait, do you only use volume or also the funding fees on futures? No, I only use volume. I don't look at funding fees as like an indicator or indication, like if the funding fees are positive or negative. I only use volume on the chart. I don't use volume as in like on an exchange. I just use the volume indicator on TradingView. I would like to know. Wait. Stephen, hi Koens. I know you like tracking data, yes, from your trading journal. What are your most valued stats apart from the obvious CVD? Yeah, so the most value statistics that I have is on the CVD indicator. And because it's where I got the most data. I have data on the 5-minute, 15-minute, and the 1 hour. I think maybe the 30-minute as well. It's been a long time since I analyzed or collected data on indicators. This was like in my first 2 years. But I have a lot of data on CVD. I also have a lot of data on the pivot points indicator or something like that. Was it pivot points? Like pivot point indicator or something with point indicator or whatnot. Like you get those lines. Was it CPR? Pivot point CPR, was it that? Yeah, something like this. I don't know if this is the exact indicator. I don't use that anymore. But I collected a lot of data on that as well. I never collected data on Elliott waves really, because it's already a methodology. You know, the data comes from Mr. Elliott himself. So yeah, I collected a lot of data on my support resistance levels. So I use the volume levels, daily naked point of control, weekly naked, range point of controls. So I have data on that. Yeah. I guess that answers the question. I'm learning for years. You never stop making mistakes. 100%. 100%. Like, I also still make mistakes now and then because sometimes I'm looking at a diagonal and then I forget to measure wave 4 against wave 2. And then I'm like, oh, look, there's a diagonal. And then, oh no, wait, wave 4 is actually longer than 2. And I have to be like, sorry, guys, made a mistake. Where's the entry in Elite? Will I get some info on your personal plan? Yes. Because in Elite, I explain what I am looking for. I don't do signals because I hate signals. I think it's really bad. It's a bad industry habit. It doesn't teach anyone anything. But in Elite, every morning, I record a video, generally between 20 minutes and an hour. This morning routine video was 1 hour of this today. And in that video, I show you my whole routine. So I get behind my PC, boot up TradingView, boot up the recording, or sometimes I do a live morning routine with the members. And then I put the levels on my chart. I do my Elliott Wave analysis. I'm changing the scenarios. I'm explaining why. So why am I looking for this? Why this? Why do I put ta-ta-ta? So I explain my analysis. And you can see me do my analysis and I talk about my thought process. And the reason I do that is because it helps people to do their own analysis on the chart and, make them understand how to think when doing Elliott Wave analysis. Then, of course, we get a certain bias. Bias is higher for this or that. And then I always explain my areas of interest. So, well, based on the bias that we have, this area is interesting for longs and this area is interesting for shorts. And then if price is reaching this area and it does this and this, I might be interested to look for a long position or a short position, depending on the information. So then I draw on the chart what I like to see. So it gives people a bit of an idea of how I approach the chart and what I look for. Yeah, and in entry is mainly focused on updates during the day. Depending on the price action of that day, I am either very active or less active, but I'm always active. So this is entry, where in entry, I always write all sorts of stuff during the day. I have my morning post that I always do in the mornings, but then during the day with new information coming, I write more stuff and it just keeps going. Like, of course, I do this for a very long time already. So that is entry. And in Elite, we also have we have the lounge, very active morning routines, trading talk, where mostly people ask questions as well. We have Jarvis that's doing counts on hype. These questions from No Choke, as well as other questions in here, I answer in the morning routines. Feedback Q&A, some extra content. So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Do you perform your analysis from larger time frames to smaller ones? Well, the smaller. So when I make a YouTube video, this is an interesting question. When I make a YouTube video, I generally show the analysis from a higher time frame to a lower time frame. But when I am analyzing the chart, it's the lower time frames that decide the probabilities on the higher time frame. So I am mainly interested in what is happening on a 50-minute time frame or a 1 minute time or a 1 hour time frame. And if price here would finish an impulse to the upside and we would get a move down, for example, then I can go to a 4-hour time frame and I can be like, well, we have a finished structure here. So on the 4-hour, we like to see a 3-wave move down. So now the 4-hour gets into play again. And then once price maybe starts moving to the downside, and I can go to the 1 hour again and the 50-minute, and I can observe this structure down. Is it motive? Is it corrective? If it is motive, we may look for downside. If it is corrective, we would look for price to move up. So then I start zooming in again. So I zoom in and out and in and out. But I like to be part of the 1 hour and the 50-minute time frame, because that is where probabilities change first before they change on a daily, weekly, etc. But when I make a video, I will show the analysis usually from high to lower time frame, so people can kind of follow the story. Or I would do it from low to high, but usually I go high to low. Yeah. And when I do my analysis, I mostly do my analysis on the 15-minute and the 1 hour. Those are my favorite time frames. I don't often hang around on the weekly or a monthly or a daily time frame. I'm usually 15-minute, 1 hour, 4-hour time frames. That's where I'm at most of the time. And whenever I feel like, okay, so much has happened on the 1 hour time frame and the 4-hour time frame, that now on the daily things are changing, then I will go to a daily as well and analyze the daily time frame and then make, for example, a daily video. But it, you know, for things to change on higher time frames, it takes more time. No. Which structure can start with a double zigzag, a flat? Wave A of, yes. Been 1.5 years, becoming better. Yes. You're correct. Damchi. Damchi, by the way, is one of the OGs. Been here for a very long time already on the YouTube channel. Nice to see you, man. And you are correct. So a double zigzag can be a subwave of a flat ABC, can also be a subwave of a diagonal. But if you start a structure with a double zigzag, A, B, C, your primary would be a flat, and alternatively, you're looking for a diagonal. A diagonal only gets higher probabilities if you finish a wave 4 of the diagonal. So. I thought you started out with chart champions at the beginning of Elliott Waves. No, chart champions didn't have Elliott Waves back then. He never made videos, Daniel, on Elliott Waves. I was part of his Discord community there. Of course, you have the free section, and then I don't know what the levels are. I only know the champions are highest. But he did not yet make the Elliott Wave content when I knew about chart champions back in the day. So I mainly learned from the website that I showed earlier, as well as the Elliott Wave principle. Yep. And then just implementing, just continuously implementing. So, and I do sometimes get in our Discord, sometimes Daniel does some Elliott Wave stuff, and then people in my community in Discord, they post like, you know, stuff from other people sometimes in the community. And, you know, I suppose it's solid, but it's not always all the rules and guidelines, according to all the rules and the guidelines. Like, I think he excels in order flow. That's his big thing is order flow. He's very, very good in order flow. So if you want to learn order flow, I think Chart Champions is probably a very good place to be. If you want to use or learn Elliott Waves, I don't really think it's the right place. His Elliott Wave analysis, it's okay, but it's not great. Like it's not there are incorrect things that appear in the analysis. No. But then again, everyone has their own strengths. I suck at order flow. I don't even use order flow. Like Daniel is great in order flow. I'm really bad because I don't use it. I don't implement it. I can look at order flow and I can get a hang of, you know, what it means, but I am not comparable to Daniel on the order flow pro. It's just like there's other people that may use ICT. I don't know anything about ICT, so I'm really bad, and I will probably make a ton of mistakes in ICT. I will make a ton of mistakes in order flow. And people that don't have Elliott Waves, I suppose, as a certain foundation, which they specialized in, they will make mistakes in their Elliott Wave analysis. So it depends on, like, if you're looking to learn more about ICT or order flow or Elliott Waves or what's the other one, harmonics and other stuff, you will, or GUN, even GUN, you will go to different people and pick their brain. Legendario. Does Elliott also work on lower time frames? Yes, it does. Thank you, Mark, for sharing the beginner playlist. Yo, Legendario, have a good meeting. About the downwards impulse, I was referring to subwaves 4 and 1 inside wave 3. They seem to overlap around 107K. You can see it on the daily chart. The wave 3 looks like it's an expanding diagonal. 4-hour time frame, 107K. Oh, wait, you're talking about this here. Yeah, so this range, we can count this as WXABCY. That's one option to solve the problem. So this is actually stuff we covered back then as well, because it's annoying that we have the overlap here. So one solution was, well, we can count this WXY and look for price to move down, and that avoids problems with any of the overlap. Or maybe you talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, I think this may be the issue you're looking for. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Around 107K. The wave 3 looks like an expanding diagonal. I think you're probably looking at this. So let me just like talk about this move down. So this is quite a nice impulse to the downside, right? Corrective move towards the upside. And then you get this. And this is, of course, where things got quite messy, so to say. Now, we have a few ways on solving this. First of all, this would not be, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would not be the count that is applied here. Preferably, this is going to be like 1, 2, and then you look for 3, and then 4, 5 come after. So this is then a lower degree structure. So either we have 1, 2, WXY, 3, 4, 5, or we count 1, 2, and then on the lower time frames, we will have to count this as another 4. This is then also a 4. Now it's a little bit messy because, of course, we need a 2 to match the 4, and this wave 4 is significantly longer than any of the 2s we had in the beginning, and we don't want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because of the overlap. And an expanding diagonal in a wave 3 is not allowed. Only in a wave 1 or a wave 5 can you have expanding structures, like a diagonal at least. So in order to solve the issue, we can either count just WXY, zigzag X, flat ABC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, regular flat, then wave C, problem solved. The other option is we need to count like 1, 2 in here, some sort of like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and then a 5. That's the two ways to solve the issue. So this was actually a very nice move, very messy stuff. But we can get out of that. This is how we can get around some of the mess there, I suppose. Dutch, you're everywhere. Yeah, Dutch is probably mod on most of the YouTube channels. Ethereum. I heard about silver earlier as well. Keep it in mind. Don't tell my wife. Andy, I'm curious. What was this about? Oh, okay. So that was scam. But can we have a double zigzag finished at 60K? And then we are in an X wave. Yes. But then you're looking for a WXY XZ. Go to the weekly. So the question is, can we have a finished? So here. Can we have a double zigzag finished at 60K? And now we are in an X wave. The answer is yes. You can have a WXY, a double zigzag ABC, WX, AB, longer C, that's your wave Y. If this is finished, a double zigzag at the low, and you're counting this as another X, it means that you're looking for a WXY XZ, triple zigzag. So you're looking for another move down. The wave X's are preferably quite similar to one another. Most common wave X's are a zigzag family structure, which this one is, the first one, and very likely the second one would then become one as well. Also, commonly, your wave X's are relatively similar in their size. So we take a fib time from the start to the end of the first X. This is your first X. We put it at the low of the Y. And you can see that this one, it moved beyond the 1-to-1. So this one is a bit longer, but it's not like the ratio is still there, right? It's not like it's too long. Okay, so this can absolutely still be an X, and you look for a wave Z. However, a WXY XZ is a very rare corrective structure in Elliott waves, and generally we say that it is not preferred unless all of the other structures fail. So if price were to move down to the 60K low, and it does in a three-wave structure, right? Then initially the probabilities will be higher. We're looking for an A, B, C flat structure instead of a WXY XZ. Now, after a wave Z, as well as after a wave B, in both cases, you're looking for an impulse up. So the price action is the same. This impulse up is preferably a wave C and a flat. Alternatively, it will be a wave 1 or maybe a wave A. if we're looking for a larger flat. And then the correction down will decide. Is this going to be corrective or is this going to be motive? If motive, look for lows. If corrective, we look for highs, and it gives an opportunity to a WXY-XZ. So only at a later stage would we give the probabilities to a WXY-XZ. Another thing, by the way, if price would move to the downside and it creates a three-wave structure that moves beyond the 1.618 taken from the start to wherever the end here of this then move up is going to be in your wave X. If the move down touches the 1.618, a flat has low probabilities. So if this happens and it's touched and price then moves up, you will have to consider a WXY-XZ already from the get-go. Yep. Well, some other stuff. Yeah, I'm answering like, yeah, how long are we? Almost 2 hours already. Probably focus on Bitcoin. Well, not complete. I was talking to Adam, one of my mods in Discord. Like, what can we do at 25K? Maybe we can do a full, like, very long altcoin and stock. And I don't know what Elliott Wave analysis live stream where we just cover lots of different things. Could be quite fun. Do you hodl in Bitcoin or do you base everything on spot? Spot. I don't hodl. I don't know. I've never really been like a hodl person. Yeah, I like to go in and out the market. Yeah, that's more like my thing. Yeah, is daily open 12 a.m. midnight when considering daily bias? Well, in my case, you can actually, the daily open is the same for everyone, even though your time may be different, but the daily candle opens at the exact same moment for everyone. So in my case, the new daily candle opens at 2 a.m. Central European time. And you can go and check this by going to, for example, a 4-hour time frame, and then look with your cursor, and then you can see that I go from 10 p.m. at the bottom of the video. Right, this is 10 p.m. Central European time, and then poof, it goes to 2 a.m. So the next 4-hour candle opens at 2 a.m., which means that's the start of your daily candle in my case. So that's where my daily candle start. Love from India, love from France. By the way, talking about India, I've really been enjoying making curries recently. Indian food, very nice. When we mark daily high and low on TradingView, those levels point to 8 p.m. previous day in UTC4. Yeah, so that might be related to then your time frame when the candle opens. Hey Koens, on the daily, isn't this a clear rising channel from the 65K low? Doesn't this make the move up corrective? Yeah, so I'm also not a fan of initially counting a leading diagonal. They're not very reliable structures. Right, so that's an alternative, but because you have a 3-wave down, you have to consider it. What the bulls want to see, like, to increase probabilities for bullish outcomes, you just need to continue with 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down. Currently, yeah, like a leading diagonal is not a high probability structure, so it does increase the probabilities for corrective movements. A leading diagonal in a wave 1, it's not all too common, but it happens, and especially when we have a 3-wave move down after a potential diagonal, which at least means we have to be serious about considering it. Also be aware that a multi-1-2 stays inside a channel for a while until the 3 breaks out. So price action being contained inside a channel, yes, right? We would look for zigzags, ABC or WX and a wave Y, triple zigzags in a rising channel, that is. We look for zigzag family structures. But do not forget about a multi-1-2, because a multi-1-2 in the beginning can also just sit inside the channel till it doesn't. So you just have to be aware of a multi-1-2 in this case. But what we are looking for locally 4-hour time frame, 1-hour time frame is for a high, like maybe it's finished, maybe another high, depends on lower time frames, which we'll cover at the beginning of the video. But basically we're looking for an impulse ending here and then look for retracement. and the bulls are looking for this to be another 2. So it has to be corrective. So it's more interesting to look at the new information coming in. If this is a corrective structure down, which we can figure out once we get it, then the bulls have an option of counting another 2 here and look for price to move up, while the bears are going to be looking for a larger corrective structure. So of course, ideally, the bears end something here and just go down. But if this is going to be corrective, they can't, which means they either look for a larger sideways or a WXY double zigzag up, for example, like a larger, just larger structures. So it will keep the doors open for the bulls. Learning all the lore. Pleasure, man. Pleasure, yeah. Yeah, good old times. I'm in a WhatsApp group with lots of content creators. I think there's over 100 channels, and everyone has their own. Where is it? Oh, yeah, it's called Crypto YouTubers and Twitterers. 135 members are in here, and you have. There's people in here from anything appears in this group. You have, of course, people like Call the Moon, Da Vinci, Crypto, Crypto Kid. They're in here. But then you also have me as an Elliott Wave analyst in here. You have Daniel that's in this group as well, and many more people that do like the simple trend lines. Lots of stuff. And I mean, honestly, we don't really talk too much about analysis. It's mainly about all sorts of other stuff. And I gotta say, I'm not very active. I'm reading things though, but I'm not very active. My latest message, I don't even know when my latest contribution to the group. Oof, I got a score. I'm in. Last time I wrote something in the group was... I'm in February now. So whenever there's a question about Elliott waves or direction or something, I can answer it. Or if someone needs help with something that I know something about, I will help. But generally, it's just chatting and chatting about all sorts of stuff. Of course, the war, of course, as well. But damn, man, I'm already in mid-February now. I don't even know. Let's just say it's a long time ago that I wrote something, but it's actually quite an active group. Quite an active group. I wasn't. That's why I didn't block you. Oh. Are my comments being filtered? Possibly. YouTube has their own filter, and we also have a list of banned words in the settings that scammers often use. So might be something going on there. The 5-minute chart. Well, the 5-minute chart, I kind of looked at the 15-minute at the beginning of this video. So the 15-minute, this is your bearish case. Probabilities are highest that this is corrective. Probabilities are highest to still see a movement down, but ideally, based on the local structure, preferably this would not be finished. Like if we want to count this as a WX, ABC, and a Y to finish something here, this is a very, very ugly C. Like this looks very corrective, very overlappy. I don't really like ending Y there. So I would prefer getting a bit of a larger corrective structure in a WXY, a sharp WXY, double zigzag, or more sideways if X goes deep. But on the 1 hour time frame, the probabilities, generally probabilities are highest that this here is corrective. Increasing probabilities, you're still looking for another leg down once this is finished. Icons, I believe we're making a head and shoulders. Icons, hi, Kozkane. I believe we're making a head and shoulders in the weekly. If it breaks the all-time high, like what S&P? It's a UTOT. Okay, yeah, I know what you mean with that. Forming for a deeper correction to 30K since the point of control is not tested. That's very interesting. Yeah, so that's a possibility, absolutely. My knowledge on the distribution phases and accumulation phases, according to that theory, which I forgot the name of. I don't use it, but I'm aware of at least what the UTAD means. And yeah, if you would create another high, like from an Elliott wave point of view, you would like that high to be a wave B or a wave 5, and then you go down. If you were to take out the all-time high, that is. Yeah. Yeah. Is the top of this correction structure potentially in? Yeah, it's possibly in. I mean, so we moved into the resistance here. All right, the order block. WX ABCY possible. It's just a really ugly wave C inside wave Y here. Very, very ugly structure to count as an impulse. So ideally, I don't like something to finish here. It would be nice to create a bit of a larger like WXY, but we could possibly finish a WXY at the high. It's more that on the 1 hour time frame, the bias in all cases would still be we're looking for a move down. So longing here is not a great idea. If price falls into lower areas of support, could be interesting for long opportunities, depending on how price is approaching that area. Shenanigans going on here as well. I haven't looked at the lower time frames here. Yeah, bearish, multi-1-2, bullish, zigzag family structure, or a diagonal. But the 1 hour bias would be still looking for a retracement. Question is something finished at the high or not finished at the high? I preferably do not count something finished at the high just because it's such an ugly impulse up. So, you know, I can go to a lower time frame. There's so much overlap here. Overlap. Very tricky to count this as a great impulse, but it's low time frame stuff, but it's not a nice impulse to the upside. Yeah, like this was quite a nice impulse, this one here. It's quite a nice structure. This one isn't. So for me, ideally, I don't finish something here. I would like to see larger WXY or a more sideways. It's something that's not yet finished. And then after that, get the move down. If it so happens that that's the high, then it's the way it is. Yeah. What's up, Carl, by the way? Hope you're doing good. In the Ardennes now. Oh, wait. Yeah, so you moved to Belgium here. Not completely. I'm traveling Europe in the Ardennes. Enjoy. Traveling Europe. Are you going to go to the south of France as well, or not? Because if you would go to the south, then write me a message. Just send me a message on WhatsApp. What's your prediction for the next? These are always very tricky questions because you don't know where price is going to be in 24 hours, but you can play the probabilities. Right? That's most important. So probabilities, 1 hour time frame, we're still looking for another move down. That's your highest probability. Probabilities are higher that this is corrective to the upside. Finished or not finished. On the 1 hour, you're still looking for another leg down. But preferably, this is not the end of a WXY to the upside. It can be, but it's not a nice C. So what I would ideally like to see is something like this. Now, how long that's going to take? Well, it's up to the market. We don't know. And if something did finish and it goes down, then it's the way it is. But at least we're prepared because you're not going to long at the high of a structure when you know that the probabilities on the 1 hour are highest. You're still looking for a move down. If price falls into supports, yeah, that could still be a long for a potential unfinished structure. Right? But because I don't really enjoy finishing something here, but ideally I'd like to see a larger corrective movement and then get a move down after. The rising channel I was talking about is the one from the 29th of March low. 29th of March. Okay, yeah. Now an impulse does not need to break out. Huh? If you count this as a corrective movement, by the way, a zigzag family structure in that case, then you have to consider this to be a flat and then W, X, Y. That's going to be your count. Now, initially, I was considering possibly a zigzag family structure to the upside here, like a WXY. But as price kept going and every move down was corrective, the probabilities increase for a motive wave structure. Because by now, you have to start considering triple zigzags, and those are very rare. So then you would have like a WXY or WXYXZ or something like that. Like it becomes very messy. And a triple zigzag is very rare, while an impulse is not. Plus, an impulse can work. You don't have overlap here. So you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then you just get a bunch of 4, 5s afterwards, which then again overlap as well. So you have the overlap in the 1, 2s, then you have the overlap again in the 4, 5s. That's exactly what you want to see. So yeah, it may stay inside the channel, but based on the structure, I would prefer an impulse over a zigzag family structure. So zigzag family would have been nice if it's just A, B, C, done and go. Okay, maybe like W, X, and then get a wave Y. It would be quite a high Y compared to your W, but still. But then you create another high, and now you need to go W, X, Y, X, Z, and that's, I don't want to go there. So it's not the highest probability. If it is corrective, then yeah, you would expect it to move below 65K as the highest probability, with a running flat wave C not reaching 65. But then you would still expect wave Y after the flat and then go down and take out the 60K low. Only impulse would be a truncation like I just sent in the lounge. Yoav. Only impulse would be a truncation like I sent in the lounge. Okay. Yeah, so, but here, for example, you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but what's the subwave, right? Like this is what I struggled with this morning as well, like earlier today when I was looking at this move up. So I'm like, okay, how can we count this? Like we could maybe get a diagonal in here, but then it would be an ABC. So in this scenario, wave 1 has to be some sort of a diagonal. But interestingly, I actually checked this morning. We can't count an expanding diagonal here in the 1 because wave 4 is shorter than 2. It's not allowed. So yeah, and it is like 1, 2, 1, 2. You just miss like 4, 5s. And then we have the sub count of wave 3. Wave 3 has to be an impulse. Right? Can be in a diagonal, it can be a zigzag family structure, but look at the amount of overlap. And a truncation in a diagonal is even more rare than a truncation in an impulse, which by itself is already rare. So it's very difficult to give the highest probability to this being motive. It's very, very tricky. If there's a truncation, that would be a big sign of weakness. But it's just low time frame stuff, right? Low time frame counting. So yeah, but I would initially count that as a corrective movement over something motive because it's so tricky. Tricky to count that motive, to be honest. Yo, Jeroen, how are you doing? Slovenia. Oh, Jeroen, is that where you're going? I saw your WhatsApp message. Is that where you're going in May? You're going to Slovenia? Sir, look at the volume. Yeah, so 5-minute time frame. So this is the move we spoke about earlier, this here. Very, very tricky to count this as a high probability motive wave because of all the overlap. Okay. little bit of volume. This looks like a flat ABC. So this is not a diagonal to the downside. We can't count a diagonal here, like a diagonal like this. I mean, wait, one second, maybe. At least not a contracting diagonal. 1 second, let me check. Checking. Okay, so in theory, you could have an expanding diagonal here, but then you... this looks more like a flat ABC than this being 1, 2, 3... Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't look very nice. Look at the 4 here. Looks more like an impulse, no? So you have your like 1, 2, 3, and then you create a high. Doesn't look like a zigzag family structure. Expanding diagonal is also very rare and not preferred till other structures fail. So this move down is not an impulse because of the overlap. Low probability diagonal because it has to be expanding. Which then brings us to a multi 1-2. If this is a multi 1-2, then over here you need some sort of a wave 1. This has to be a 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get to the same issue, another 1, another 2. So now this again has to be a zigzag family structure. A multi 1-2 would be higher probabilities than a diagonal though. So that's at least something. Checking the wave 1s with one another. So your lower degree wave 1 is almost 4 times the size compared to your higher degree wave 1. That's not what you like to see. That's a very long wave 1 lower degree. This is a lower degree 1 compared to this. And generally when you look at multi 1-2s, you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you go. So each 1, 2 becomes a bit shorter, no? So this would lower the probabilities for a multi 1-2. It's not an invalidation by definition, but it's not what we like to see. So having a zigzag family structure stuff to the downside here is not like, it's not out of the question. I would prefer this to be corrective. But a multi 1-2 is not invalid, so we have to be aware. It's not very nice. And an expanding diagonal is very rare. So yeah. But if this is corrective, it would also support my idea of looking at a larger corrective structure, because I don't really enjoy this being an impulse to finish a Y here. So it would give probabilities to still looking for a larger structure, larger WXY. Oh. I'm glad, Carl. Good. If I'd visit France on my trip, then I would only because of you. But for now, I'm focusing on northern Italy, Slovenia. Northern Italy. Go to Lake Como. We were there earlier this year. It's beautiful. And now with the summer coming as well, it must be amazing. But I'm pretty sure you have a very nice plan. Yo, Mark. Slovenia. Volume. I'm not on a set tour. Oh, whenever, wherever. Yeah. Close my eyes on the internals. yeah. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. No. Northern Italy, Slovenia. Very nice location, Jeroen. Are you going to check Lake Como as well? On the 15.5 minute, it's maybe WXY and wave 4. Are you talking about this being a wave 4? I'm not looking at a wave 4 at the moment, because then we would need to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we have a lot of overlap here. So it looks very corrective. Yeah. Oh no, wait, let me move it also for the editor. Were you able to trade spot from the last macro bottom around 15K all the way up to the near 120K? By the way, I'm going to Amsterdam for the first time at the end of June. We may come across. Well, I don't live in Amsterdam anymore. I used to, but I moved out of the Netherlands, so I'm not in the Netherlands anymore. I will be in the Netherlands in May, but for a very short time. Nothing planned in June, because my family will come from the Netherlands to France actually in June and July, so I'll probably hang around here. So yeah, but enjoy your time in Amsterdam. It's really good in summer. Hopefully the weather is with you. With regards to spot, yeah, it's more like swing trading, I suppose. So I have this short. I don't know, sometimes I get like a comment. Let me try and find the short in question. 1 second here. Let me try to find the short in question. So sometimes I get a comment, studio, go to my short, of a short that I made when price was at, I don't know, 25K or 30K, where I was talking about 100K minimum target. Wait, I need to, okay, date. 1 second, I'm looking. I'm just quickly checking. Is the low already in or not? Checking. Would be nice if I can very quickly find it without it taking too long. No. So I'm quickly gonna find it in order to answer the question. It would be nice if I can find the short. Okay, open. Oh, this might be it. Oh no, this is this one is too late now. Okay, so I won't be able to. I won't be able to find it, unfortunately. But anyway, the answer to that was yes. And the main reason is, and that was, I showed it in that video, which was a short video, but I made so many shorts, so it's difficult to find. It must be one of the oldest one on the channel, so you might be able to go to the shorts tab. But first of all, we have this move here. So if we're looking at possibly wave C of an impulse, for example, or a zigzag family structure, you can quite clearly see the general structure of the waves. And if you're looking at a wave 5 to finish, or you're looking at a WXY, so ABC, W, ABC, and then a wave Y, you're ending at around the same low. So that's number one. Is like, okay, this low is very interesting, right? We could definitely finish something here around that 15K area, or maybe go a little bit lower, no problem. But we're looking at a final wave. Then, right? You also have, first of all, a very annoying move towards the upside, very overlappy as well. But here on the lower time frames, constant bullish CVDs with higher highs, higher lows, 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down. So increases probabilities to look for price to move up. And if this was bearish and this move down was a wave 1 or a wave A, then the probabilities decreased for bears the moment you move, there we go, at the 4-fib time here. Because preferably a wave 2 or B is not taking that long. So preferably you would go down before reaching this. So price created another high here on the 8th of January on top of the 4-fib time. Decreasing probabilities, this is a 1 or A. No. And then we get the move towards the upside. So that was absolutely a reason to enter. Now then you get this move towards the upside. You're not yet sure, are we looking at a bull market, yes or no, right? We can finish something here. This could still be a potential flat even in an ABC, with this being a wave B, and then you get a wave C towards the upside. Now if this is a wave C towards the upside, then this is where the probabilities changed for a larger move up. The second time you take out 30K, or at least you take out this high. Because this is the moment where you cannot count this anymore as a wave C towards the upside. You're looking at a motive either A or 1. So you're always looking for continuation up and then either a wave C or a wave 3. So if someone was not involved here, then in my opinion, the next best opportunity was any retracement after this second time touching 30K. Because from there onwards, you're looking for price to move up in either a wave C or you're looking at a wave 3. You just got to keep an eye on the local structure and then, step by step. I have old content on my accounts. Now, I wasn't as great as an Elliott Wave analyst back then. Not saying that I'm great now. That sounds very egoistic. Not saying I'm great now, but I'm at least better. But I was good. I was good in Elliott Waves. So you can check old content as well. I don't know. It's somewhere in my shorts, there is the prediction of getting an all-time high between 100 and 175K and then look for a retracement. And that short was made when price was hanging around like 30K, 25K or something. Did you say you are in France? Yes, I will go this Friday in Carcassonne, south of France. Enjoy. Carcassonne, I'm actually... So I live here, but I got to check where Carcassonne even is, to be honest. 1 second. Maps. Because we haven't visited everything here. Carcassonne. Oh, wait, that's quite Montpellier. Okay, that's why I don't know. So Carcassonne, or Carcassonne, or whatever, is all the way on the left, right? It's on the west. So you are going to be relatively close to Montpellier, Toulouse, while I'm all the way on the other side. So unfortunately, not around the corner. Sure, the impulse move on the 1 hour. It seems the spike of volume on the 5 seconds or the 5s more than on the 3. Can happen when you're considering corrective movements. So corrective structures can end on high volume. It's actually quite common to see that happen. So you're looking at wave Cs, for example. They can end on high volume. But it's I think what's important here is it's about the general story that the chart gives us. Right? It's about the bias. So if you zoom out, the question you want to answer is this motive or corrective? It's the only question you need to ask. Is this motive or corrective? Motive would be, is this an impulse? Is this a multi-1-2? Or is this a diagonal? Low probabilities for all of those. Probabilities are therefore higher. This is corrective. Do we need to know exactly what kind of corrective structure? No. Because the bias on the 1 hour is always going to be look for another low. Or not another low, but another move down. Now, based on the structure locally, I don't really enjoy finishing something here. So I would like to see a larger structure to finish at a later stage, like a wave wide, a later stage. And then on the 1 hour, get that leg down. So we keep an eye on the chart, but I'm not really too focused on the low time frame. Or there's volume there or volume spike there. I'm hanging on the 15 1 hour for the most part at the moment. Yeah. I'm every year in the south. Yeah, it is. Antibes. Antibes is not far away. We've been to the Christmas market in Antibes. Went for dinner a few times in Antibes, and it's a great city. At least it has sand beaches. Not every beach in the south of France has sand. Like Nice has stones. Well, you have Monaco, where they do have a sand beach there. Plage Malin, Cap d'Aille, sand beach. Antibes, sand beach. Cannes has some sand areas. Yeah, so Saint-Raphaël, also nice. South of France, I always went on holiday in the south of France with my parents back in the day, every year, because my mom is French. We get the liquidity, and she loves the sun. And now going high, do you expect a new local top and grabbing that liquidity around 78.6? 78. Well, if it does, I'm still looking for a flat. So it's just going to be a grab and then look for price to move down, to be honest. Do I currently expect to go that high? It would only be with a sharp double zigzag. So ABC, W, get a sideways X, and then again ABC up. If this goes too deep to around 74.9, probabilities decrease to take out this high. With at least, you're not looking for a sharp WXY, you're going to be looking for more of a sideways WXY. So WXY, and then you get that move down. So yeah, if price were to go up, then there will be an opportunity here to go down. But then it has to go up in the relatively short term, right? It should not like do this and then go up. It takes too long, because by then your 1 hour move, that can be your move down already. If you're looking at a triangle, A, B, C, D, and then wave E, that can be the end, and you go up. So it has to do it relatively soon. We don't have all the time like in the world to get that move and take out that high. Are you closer to Marcella? I'm closer to like the area of like Cannes, Nice, Monaco, like the east side of the coast. Every year reliving the honeymoon. I see. It's nice. It's beautiful. Like it's a great place to live. Like averaging 300 sunny days. You know, it's great. It's great. So, what's your favorite part in the south? Oh wait, that was a question here. To BX Thrilled. Aren't the taxes bother you there? You know, in my opinion, taxes are just, you pay taxes, but you like the quality of life I have here. I don't care about the taxes, to be honest. Like people, it's not the first time, but you got to ask yourself, would you rather live in a place you love living and pay taxes, or live in a place where you're not loved to live, but you don't pay taxes? Now, if you can combine both, that's amazing. But I don't want to live in Dubai, unrelated to the war, even before the war. I don't want to live in Dubai. I like Dubai to visit and be a tourist for a few days and then get out. I don't want to live there year round. You know? I don't want to live in Malta. I don't want to live in some Cayman Island area. Right? And I live in France. I'm based here. And if you're based for over 6 months in one country, you will pay taxes in the country. So unless I travel around the world every 2 months with a baby and a wife and not be based in one area, I can have a business on the Cayman Islands and not pay taxes, for example. But we love the south of France, and this is where we like to raise our kid as well. So I do not mind paying taxes to enjoy living where you know, where we are now, basically. And it's just then the cost of living, I suppose. Well, will I have more money if I live in Dubai or whatever? Yes. But am I going to take money to my grave? Or am I going to take all the memories and my enjoyment of life into my grave? Well, I'm not going to take the money down. So I might as well take the most out of my life and just pay for happiness. So, yeah. I do have to say, though, that I always prefer to pay the least amount of taxes. So I don't mind paying taxes. I do mind paying too much taxes. So, and taxes is not my strong point. In the Netherlands, I kind of know how it works, but in France, it's still relatively new to me. I don't know the system. So I probably need to sit with a tax lawyer and figure out how everything works and how to optimize things in France. I still have a Dutch business as well. So, yeah. Villefranche-sur-Mer. We actually, yesterday, we were in, my wife and I, and our kiddo were in Villefranche. We went to the promenade there. So, yeah, it's a small, nice town. It's great. It's a good vibe. It's only unfortunate, and that's with a lot of towns on the south of France, is that you have the restaurants, then the road, and then the beach. Right? It would have been a lot nicer if the road is behind the restaurants and the beach are on the seas on the front on the beach side, like all of them. Sure, you have some beach clubs and stuff, but yeah. But then it's nice, absolutely. What's your favorite city in the south of France? Favorite city in the south of France. Favorite city in the south of France. Well, I don't know if I can. So there's a few that we tend to visit regularly. I will include Monaco in here. So Monaco is a place we go quite often. We enjoy checking out Plage Melun and hiking around Jean Cap Ferrat, Nice, very vibrant city. Honestly, we mostly go between Nice and Monaco, like all the places there. Villefranche as is great as well. Yeah. What kind of taxes do you? Well, in France, don't mind you, I'm still very new to the system here, and I so it took a lot of time to switch things as well. But in France, it's not just the taxes you pay. You also pay social security, which gets on top. It's quite a funny thing, but expensive thing. But basically, the social security that you pay depends on the salary you pay yourself. So the more you pay yourself as a salary, the more tax anyway you pay because of income tax, but then also the higher your social security will be. So in other words, you get like the more you pay yourself, the worse it is tax-wise and social security-wise, because you'll have a higher cost. Now, income tax it's in any country, like Netherlands as well, income tax, not any country. But income tax in the Netherlands is also high, but you don't have social security there, which you do have in France. So that's the thing. And the social security is paid by your business. So not private. So you pay yourself a salary private, for example, and then the social security is paid by your business, but it is calculated based on your salary that you pay yourself. It's but yeah. So and then you have dividend tax, income tax, you have your general like revenue and profit and stuff. So but I don't really know all the ins and outs here just yet. So I need experts on my side to help me with that kind of stuff. Honestly, it's also not really my interest. I hate taxes and all of the administrative stuff. I just, I enjoy business. I don't enjoy the administration side of things. So I leave that to other people, preferably. Europe, one of the best places to live for living quality. Of course, everyone will have their opinion. I really enjoy Europe, absolutely. I also know, a lot of the content creators live in Dubai that are in a WhatsApp group, and many of them definitely do not like Europe. They would hate Europe, so to speak, which is of course absolutely fine. Right? They don't like all the regulation and all of this and all of that. Some move to Thailand, but I think in the end, what do we strive for? What would you strive for? Happiness. I mean, in the end, just want to be happy. Of course, you want to have some money in the bank. And I don't agree with the quote that says, money doesn't buy happiness. Fuck, it does. Because with money, you can do things that make you happy. You know what I mean? Like living on the street without money is not going to make me happy. If I don't have like a house and a place to raise my kid, and I don't agree with that quote. Money doesn't buy happiness. It does, because you can do things that will make you happy. But it does not. From a certain moment, though, the money does not buy you more happiness. That's a quote. Money absolutely buys you happiness, but it doesn't buy you more happiness when you have a certain baseline in your happiness, right? Like, you can get a new car, have fun for 2 months, and then you're like, oh, it's just a normal car, right? Drives the same as an Audi if you get a Lambo. You can get a new watch, enjoy the watch for a little bit, and then be like, yeah, this Richard Mille, it looks amazing maybe, but it's actually very difficult to read the time. So when I'm out and about and I'm like in a street and I want to read the time on my Richard Mille, which has like all funny business on the clock, well, maybe I should just go back to my smartwatch, or my smartwatch, which lights up in the dark and it shows me my heart. You know what I mean? Now there is a thing for everything, right? There's a moment to wear the expensive watch. There is a moment to use the smartwatch and stuff. But what I'm talking about mainly is that you don't need the RM to be happy. You don't need the Lambo to be happy. You don't need the villa on the mountain seaside to be happy. You need a baseline to be happy. A form of income, house above your head, food on the table for you and your kid, that sort of stuff. And you're probably 80% there. Yeah, you can give yourself a luxury. You can, if you can go on holiday, that's of course not everyone can go on holiday, which by itself is a luxury holiday. But if you at least cover the foundation and you can be happy, right? Like, of course, as humans, I suppose we always strive for more. We want more this, we want more that, we want better this, we want better that, right? But the striving, the question is that will it improve? Like, striving in business can be, for example, is like different than I'm driving an Audi now or a Kia or whatever, and I want to get the Lambo. I need the Lambo. Okay, but why? Right? It's fun. You'll probably enjoy it for a bit of time, and maybe then not anymore. Maybe you do, right? So, but yeah. Anyway, I think we kind of went off path here, but yeah, it's an interesting discussion. It's an interesting discussion, I suppose. So, be happy, and sometimes treat yourself. I think that's important. You reach a certain milestone, and maybe that milestone, you had the goal of buying something expensive, maybe a watch or whatever. Buy the watch, because now the watch is representing something that you've done in your life that you can be proud of. So every time you look at the watch and you wear the watch, you can feel that, it can motivate you, right? But it's not just a random purchase. It's related to an emotional thing, right? And then it's fine. But just buying another thing, right? Oh, buying another this and another that, just because I wanna have it. I think having an emotional underlying reason would be nicer. One thing is luxury, another is happiness. Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. Lambo is more for flexing and unnecessarily. Yeah, I mean, it of course depends on who you ask, but I also think that, like, as I just said, like, if you can have a goal of buying a Lambo, but it should not be the end point, right? Like, because there's like happiness is not per se buying the Lambo. You can have a goal of I would love to buy a Lambo at some stage, but it does not mean that that is the pursuit of happiness in the life you live. You know what I mean? So again, if you have a roof above your head, some basic transportation options, and you can raise your kid and all that stuff, you're already doing well, and one can be happy. And then all the other things is I'm striving for. So if I maybe reached a certain milestone, I will buy the Lambo. And then it's like a personal present. Like, oh, I reached this milestone, worked super hard. I can now get the car. And that car, every time you sit in it, every time you press the acceleration, like you poof, you know what I mean? It can make you feel motivated, but it should be for it's a personal reason. It's not like, let me flex on the gram, ching ching. You know what I mean? In general, I don't like flexing behavior on social media. In my content, I don't know if you realize, but I never wear any watches. On my Instagram, I never share a lot of personal stuff. I think that's not important. What's important to you is my analysis. And if that is good, people stick around. If my analysis sucks, people leave. It's as simple as that. my value is not related to what I have or own as a personal person. So yeah, I can use stuff for marketing, right? I could use a car for marketing, or I could use this for marketing. But then the question is, what type of audience do you attract by doing that type of marketing? And is that the audience that I want to attract? Because generally it's related to a younger audience, while I know that my audience on average is older. I also know that my audience on average is quite entrepreneurial, right? And generally, I don't have very young people that just want to make 100K and 1 million come tomorrow with some random 100x leverage trade or look for signals. And, that's not my audience. The moon boys, the signals, the make money very quick. The audience I attract, usually because of the type of analysis, Elliott Waves, and me as a person, is a bit more, I suppose, they understand the grind, having a plan. They're more entrepreneurial, more focused on the next step and progress, slow and steady, more serious. Yes, more serious. And that is not the audience that I would attract when I put a Lambo on Instagram, because putting a Lambo on Instagram is more related to people of 18, 16, whatever years old, be like, oh shit, he drives a Lambo, he must be doing something well, No. Anyway, I have a question. How to identify support and resistance? Depends a little bit on what you like to use, but I can talk about what I use. So first of all, I use time frame horizontals. I actually have a playlist on YouTube, which you might find interesting. Wait, let me send this to you so that you can check it out. Up. So in the playlist that I'm going to link to you, you will see a couple of videos where I talk about tools. So that one. And one of them is time frame horizontal. So I go to a daily time frame in the morning and I basically check, is a green candle followed by a red candle? If so, we have a daily level. Red candle followed by a green level. If so, there is a daily level. I do the same on the weekly, do the same on the monthly, which then gives me these levels here. Then I have the point of control. So every morning I check the range point of control. So I pull a couple of volume profiles and I see where is the volume, because those might be areas of support or resistance. I also check ATAS. On ATAS I have, which is free in Discord. So if you go to Discord. So in Discord we have the good to know channel here. And I share my, here's my ATAS templates. So feel free to use them if you want, where I check for volume levels as well. Those are the bright blue ones or the bright yellow ones here and the bright pink ones. So those are volume levels, right? So areas where a lot of volume has been traded, areas of support and resistance, in other words. Then I also look for order blocks. This is, I think order blocks is, everyone uses maybe order blocks a little bit different. For example, if I go to the 6-hour time frame, then you can see that here we had a red candle, one green, and then poof, price falls, right? So that becomes an order block that I put on my chart. So I check for this as well, and but you can have lots of different things on your chart. I don't really use indicators. You can have EMAs and all that stuff as well. VWAP. Those can be confluences as well. Yeah. What about Montenegro or Croatia living? I've been to Croatia once, which actually was great. But it was for an event, so I didn't really see much. And I've never been to Montenegro, so would have to check. Have you ever been to Italy? Yes. I have been to Rome. I have been to Milan. I've been to some random city in the mountain because I had to speak in an event there, forgot the name. And I've been to Lake Como. Yeah. I've read that Nice is a little bit more dangerous. Is that true? As far as I like, with all my experience in and around Nice, I've not experienced anything dangerous. I think in any big city, there's a few areas where during the day would be fine, but during night, you preferably stay in Nice, you preferably stay below the south of the train station and the highway. But it's not like if you go north of the highway, you're in big trouble. It's not like we're living in South Africa, But yeah, you just got to be streetwise, I suppose. But I've no problem, as far as I know. No. I've made it mine. Yeah. I sent you a pic of the impulsive move. I mean, on Discord. Did you tag me by any chance? Did you tag me? It would be good if you. Oh wait, question to Koen. Maybe it's there. Ah yeah, I see it. So, where is he? Abdullah says, "Sir, please look at the 5-wave territory. The volume spike more than on wave 3 is another thing that can lower probability of an impulsive move." Ah, I see what you mean. So you're talking about the volume here, which is this wave. Now this move to the upside would be a wave 5 of a lower, or sorry, it will be a lower degree 5 of a higher degree 3. So you're still inside wave 3. Let me, I moved the chat. Let me explain this. So with regards to volume, if you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, maybe another 1, 2, then you get wave 3, and then you get your 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. The highest volume of this move could be here, which is after your first wave 5. But this is still wave 3 of a higher degree. So your highest volume still sits in your wave 3. Heck, even the highest volume could be at this high and still be that's your latest highest degree 3, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you have wave 5. Okay. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So as long as the last high has lower volume, you can still count an impulse. But it's actually good that you saw it. It's a good question. But it's about Elliott wave degrees. So a wave 3, or sorry, a wave 5 of a higher degree wave 3 can have the highest volume, but it's still inside the 3. So you're still looking for a higher degree 4 and 5, preferably in an impulse. Monroe, kind of extensively about the macro counts. I'm known with Yunus. I know who he is, but and that's because of many years ago, when I started Elliott Waves, he was also an Elliott Wave analyst. But I don't know what you mean. He talked extensively about the macro count. Yeah, I think he's looking for maybe an ABC or something. I am Barcelona, and it seems either Spain or France. We pay a lot of taxes regarding social and welfare. However, I've been living in Dublin for some years already. That's probably enough. Yeah, I don't know all the countries and how their taxes compare, but just I know that in France it's not cheap to live in France. Yeah. As a business owner, at least. I don't know if you're not if you're an employee, I don't know. But is there an Elliott Wave scenario, big drop from 80 to 55? Yes. Even lower. Could be wave C, could be a wave Z, could be a wave B for flat. So absolutely. Endemic. Yeah, so on the daily. So 55, so 55 is here. 80K is here. So is there an Elliott wave count that gets you down there? Yes. A, B, C, preferably you go deeper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Minimum target for B would be 79.7. So 80K is above that. 5 finished, A, B, C for a flat. W, X, Y, X, Z, and go up. So, yeah. The answer is yes. Totally agree with you on tax. I live in Norway. Beautiful. A lot of green. Where it is supposed to be very expensive in every possible way. It's really not when you compare with other nations and what you get in return. Exactly. It's also like what you get in return. I think that's a nice way to frame it. Are you happy? Are you happy there? Yeah. Paris and Marseille are worse, yeah. But still, if you go to Paris as a tourist, you probably won't really like, chances that you get into trouble are still very low. But just be streetwise. Like if my wife is from South Africa, Cape Town. I've traveled. I've backpacked South Africa. South Africa is a lot less safe than any of the European countries. Her father is a private investigator, and he knows about all the shit going on in Cape Town. And still, we go there all the time, every year. And of course, we see family. But if you are streetwise, you'll be okay. You just are aware of where you are and you behave accordingly. Beautiful country, by the way, South Africa, absolutely amazing. We will go to South Africa in May, so I will continue making content, probably a lower frequency. Between when did we book the flights? We booked it recently, a few days ago. I think it's 13 to 27 or something. I don't know, somewhere in May. Pleasure, Abdullah. I joined your Discord like 1 month ago. Just want to learn something from you in the live. Cheers, Vishay Close. Yeah, Discord, like there's so much going on in Discord. It's a great group of people. It's amazing, and I'm very active in Discord myself as well. Is it realistic goal to make 5-7% a month on average? I suppose it depends more on where you are in your journey. Making 5 to 7% a month on average, I think it's a good target, but I think that having a realistic goal of making 3% a month is more realistic. In the beginning, at least. Nonetheless, I mean, in the beginning, losing is realistic, but on average, it depends on your plan, your data. 5 to 7% a month on average is absolutely doable, right? If you risk 1% per trade and you have 2 winners of a 1 to 3R, or you have 3 winners of a 1 to 2R, you're already at 6R. So, yeah. That's absolutely possible, right? Like 5 to 7%. But you're talking about average, and average is, we're not talking about a few months. A consistently profitable trader, you should measure that over years. And the size of the account matters as well, where this is a good comment, where 3% on a 100K funded account is 3K, or on your own account is 3K. If that pays for your living expenses, that's good. You don't want to really experience a lot of pressure. I need to trade because I have to care for myself, my family, whatever. I have to pay for the house or whatever. So having another source of income in the beginning is recommended when you start trading. And then once you start to build that consistency, you can get more into trading. And 5 to 7% a month, yeah, it's absolutely, it's doable. But I think it would be something to strive for and not something you should require as a must to live. I think the must to live from trading should be lower. And 5 to 7% can be something to strive for. Because if you have to make 5 to 7% to stay afloat and survive, it's too much. Well, in the beginning, you just, you need to stay in the game. In the beginning, it's just about staying in the game. Survival. Probably a noob question, but Bitcoin CME looks somewhat cleaner for analysis. Would Elliott count be accurate in these kind of markets? You can count CME. Sometimes it looks cleaner, but Bitcoin crypto is a 24/7 market. And by not including the weekends, you do miss relevant information that you use in your analysis and has an impact on probabilities. So I don't count on CME because the weekends are important and are relevant in the general picture of what Bitcoin is doing. And missing that information is like reading a book, but you're missing a page. And therefore, you're unable to really follow the story because every 5 pages, you miss 2 pages. So by the end of the book, you're like, so what did I actually read? You know? Prefer to have the full book. Paris is so safe. Yeah, I enjoy Paris as well. My mom is from Paris, actually, so I know Paris well. But of course, cities change in time. I haven't been to Paris in a while. I hear bad stories. I had good stories. I hear that living in Paris and working in Paris can be quite dramatic because of the amount of people, and it's not the best. But as a tourist, I know I've never had issues. Yeah. Made a little cool film in front of clubs. In Italy, you're less open to random interactions at late night. What are you taking time, Koen? When are you taking time off for holidays? May. In May, I have to go to the Netherlands shortly, but that's also it's actually not holidays, but I probably won't be able to really make content for those few days because I have to do other stuff, also business related, to go there. And going to South Africa would be a holiday. But generally, when I am in South Africa, I still do live streams. I make less videos and do more live streams because it's easier. Because when I do a live stream, I can just boot up the stream and just go. You know what I mean? And I don't need to pre-analyze and then record a video. And I can do the analysis in a live stream or in a morning routine, and then go live and explain. So it's a bit easier. Going live is easier than making a video when traveling, if the connection is good enough. So in May, I will have a little bit less activity, but I'll try to still be there whenever things happen. And people will know that when I am in South Africa, which happened multiple times over the last years, I always go live when I'm there multiple times. So do you want to do some altcoins? Well, we're live now for, how long is it? For almost 3 hours. So I'm kind of thinking about it's 6 p.m. now. Kind of considering stopping the stream and doing some other stuff. Still, I have to go to the shop, cooking. Gotta do a questionnaire for a business related thing. Yeah. Probably not going to go into other charts. Will take a lot of time. I live in Rome. I haven't been in Rome for a while. I love Rome though. I love the history. I also like series about gladiators, series that cover something of Rome and history. Good source for structured technical analysis learning. Is this a general question? For general technical analysis, I don't really know. But for Elliott waves, the structure would be to initially check websites online. They're like I earlier showed this website, which is in the link tree. If you go below the stream description, click on the link tree, and then go to Elliott Wave detailed website or whatever the link is called. You get here. Quite a good website. 90% is okay. So good place to start. Elliott Wave Principle is a book. My book is not yet finished, so I can't yet recommend it. And then it's, understanding the theory, just get a notebook and a pen, study. Then move from theory into implementation or do it at the same time. And then it will take a while before you're really confident in your analysis. I would recommend being in Discord and share your analysis to get feedback and chat with other people and see other charts and how people count those charts, because it will increase how quickly you learn Elliott waves. And and then you get to execution. You surely already talked about this many times, but what's your career? I don't know. It's actually funny. So I don't know much about crypto, to be honest. I just analyze. I'm so niche, man. I just know how to analyze the markets. I don't actually know much about DeFi and all of the blockchain, and that I have a market in front of me. I have candles that go up and down. I can do Elliott waves on them and ta-da, My background, so my career, in a nutshell, started in esports. I was a professional gamer. In the Netherlands, I'm the first esports player with a professional sports status. 1 second here. So I've been covered in about 300 news articles. So like you can look for the name and you will like find lots of stuff. But also if you just do Koens Trackmania, you will also find lots of stuff because I was a professional gamer in Trackmania. So I was a professional esports player besides my studies in the game Trackmania. I did that for about 11 years. I was a medical student studying to become a doctor. Well, actually, first I didn't get into the study because it's a lottery system in the Netherlands. So I went from high school into biomedical sciences, finished that, the bachelor at least. Then I moved into medicine. Then I was in my 4th year of medicine. But then I got the opportunity to do things in the esports industry. And I was already building a career because I was in the news a lot. So every year I was on TV, I was on radio, I was in newspapers, I like all that stuff. And then that happened from about 2014. That's when the news really started to pick up. And then as I got more and more into the news, companies started to approach me to be like, well, this is an interesting industry. We don't know anything. Can you help us? So then you're like doing consultancy. But the issue is that I was a medical student, so you're at school the whole day, so you don't have time. So then I eventually made the decision, because besides the companies asking me to help, I was also becoming a speaker, so speaking at events and get paid to speak. I was a host on television, on Fox Sports in the Netherlands for an esports related show. So I had different things going on, and I was still a student, and I also saw my friends and stuff. So I then decided to talk to my study, to my school, and say, well, I just want to try this for 1 year. Not so take a sabbatical for 1 year. And then they said, well, we allow you to go out for 1 year. And if you come back after 1 year, you're allowed to continue where you left off. Perfect. So that was my backup. My backup became my study. So in 2018, towards the end of June or something, mid-June, I quit my medical study. I went full-time into basically my business, which was me as a person. Worked with companies in their marketing campaigns, worked with Kia, worked with NOC/NSF, worked with Vodafone Ziggo, and worked with a ton of other companies. Became a founding member of the Athletes Commission of the International Esports Federation, later became a board member at the Global Esports Federation. From starting public speaker, I became a global keynote speaker, which is what I was kind of before YouTube videos, but you do have to travel to America and to other countries a lot. So it takes a lot of time being a speaker, and it's nice to be home and work from home. So yeah, and I did that. Then I had a venture where I helped parents with gaming children. So I had a business where I help parents with gaming children. I'm the author of this book, My Gaming Child, which is a Dutch book, by the way. Right. So that is me on the back. So I did that for... How many years did I do that business? 4 years or something, I think, something like that. So yeah, I had lots of things going on, and then of course COVID hit. So by the time COVID hit, I was still presenting on TV. I was doing the esports show, but then I was asked to, or actually just before COVID, I was asked to do a show on crypto and the financial markets, and I said yes, but I said I need time to study the markets or just the financial industry before I can really be a host of the show. So they gave me 2 months, and that is when I got in touch with crypto. And that was in December 2020. So, yeah, and then I was still speaking. But of course, when COVID hit, a lot of the speaking gigs that were planned were canceled or they were moved online. Now, online is perfect because I can just, speak from home. But I do miss the interaction with an audience. I love speaking on stages. I love live streaming as well. I just love speaking and but I love being on the stage and speaking to people live. I'm really interested in doing live events, live Elliott Wave events and stuff as well in the future. And, but anyway, so, a lot of those gigs were canceled or they moved online, which gave me a lot of time to study Elliott Wave, study the markets and all that sort of stuff. And then eventually I was part of different Discord communities where I was sharing just Elliott Waves and what I was learning. And then people asked, hey, can you explain this? Can you make a YouTube video? And that's where it started. And now we're here. I didn't know this was going to happen. So now we have 24,000 subscribers. I did in the beginning of the YouTube channel, I uploaded 3 videos a day. And then I went to 2 videos and a live stream a day. And I did that for about 1.5, 2 years, 3 pieces of content a day. And then a little bit less, So I'm interested in upping the frequency again, but now we have multiple projects that we're running, like Elliott Wave Compendium, Hexaplan, Wave Charts, other stuff. So yeah. But hey, I'm still here. So that's my story, I guess, in a bit of a in a bit of a nutshell. Streaming, then it's by the way, you settle in South Africa or your own place, or are you renting there? We're renting, yeah, because it's easiest to move countries when renting a furnished place and then see if you like it, if you enjoy it. So we're in that phase. So far, so good, and we are slowly but surely starting to look at buying a place. Because when you're moving, you don't want loads of trucks with all your stuff. It's it's not worth it. You might as well just sell everything in the Netherlands, move with one car, and then buy everything here if you need anything. Trackmania. My specialty was Trackmania. Yeah. Trade the charts. Yeah, I mean, fundamental analysts will disagree, but in my case, yeah, I'm purely technical. Yeah, I know, Daniel. I know. Time to wrap it up now. Portuguese here, student of Daniel, but I agree with you. His Elliott is not so accurate as yours. Yeah, welcome, Draginiland. Yeah, I mean, Daniel he's a great guy. I don't know him personally, to be honest, so I don't know the ins and outs and what he has done, but he's a great guy. As far as I know, and he's just really good in order flow. That's his specialty. My specialty is Elliott Waves. His is order flow, and ICT's is ICT, I suppose. But yeah, everyone has their own little niche. When watching open heart surgery pics, yeah. I mean, look, if there is one surgery that really fascinated me, it's open heart surgeries. In my opinion, the most amazing surgery. But they do it less and less because of infections, which is understandable. But I've seen a lot of open heart surgeries. Yeah. And yeah, it's amazing. Just the human body. It's fascinating. I started in esports too, but with Counter-Strike as a designer. You designed the guns and then put them on the marketplace. I guess. At least. So maybe while that answer is coming in, we're gonna slowly wrap it up. On the 50-minute, if we still wait for wave Y, looks like it doesn't have much room to not touch the 886. I'm not really I don't know which wave Y, but in general, the story on the 1 hour 15-minute hasn't really changed. 1 hour, on the 15, ideally I don't end something here, and I would preferably see a larger corrective structure, still with another leg up, either a sideways or sharp. Depends a little bit on what's happening here. But on the 1 hour, probability is higher. This is corrective, so you're still looking for another leg down to partner with here. So pop, pop, pop. Could take the low or not take the low. Depends if there might be a larger triangle forming or not. But it's just a general bias. So bias would be you're not gonna it's not a multi 1-2 up for a 3. That's the lowest probability. Probabilities are higher. It's part of a corrective movement. So no. Ooh, 3 hours. It's been a while since we had a 3-hour live stream, I suppose. But yo, skins. Yeah, actually my wife made a skin, but she was too scared to upload it. I can maybe I can ask her to send me a picture of the skin and I can put it in Discord. Not sure if you're in Discord, Fleck, but my wife actually made a skin for Counter-Strike, but she was too nervous. It's already an older skin now, like she never uploaded it, but yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone. Mark, good to have you here as well again. Yeah, it's been a while. Glad to see you're doing fine. Hopping from stream to stream. Where did you get the public speaking skill from? I guess more like a natural thing. Like from when I was young in high school and primary school, like whenever there was a presentation, I was generally the guy presenting. Also at medical school, when you do group exercises, I was generally the guy talking. And I always had a knack for speaking in public. And then because I did a lot of interviews on TV, you get used to also speaking for cameras, but it all went very natural. I never really, needed coaching for speaking. But I did at some point, I was at some point part of Andy Harrington's academy, and he is a global keynote speaker. But the reason to learn from him was not to speak, but it was how to sell from stage. Because at some moment I was like, okay, maybe going or setting up my own events and then selling from a stage was at some point was an idea that I had, but eventually I did nothing with that. But he talks about how you can create systems and how you basically build a story on a stage in order to then have people run to the back of the room and sign for your product. Those type of events. It was very educational, but I didn't learn much about how I speak. It's more about that component. And there are some relevant things like building a story and some of the characters you want to have in a story. Those are things you learn there. So Andy Harrington, that's the person where I was in his academy for a while. Yeah, very interesting. It was very fun. Very fun. Is there a proper 5-wave count from 25K? Yeah, we can count a 5-wave structure to the 60K low. It's an option, yeah. I'd like to see this skin. Okay, I'll ask my wife. She has a photo somewhere, I'm sure. So, okay, everyone. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here. And tomorrow, very likely just a normal video again. And we'll see what the market gives us. Elliott Wave analysis started at about 15 minutes with the 1 hour, 15-minute time frame. Later, we also did the daily, the weekly, share some thoughts there. So, trade safe, and I'll see you soon again.